and welcome to New Zealand, to the beautiful province of the Waikato, and specifically Cambridge, the home of the UCI World Cup event at the Advantageous. This has been a mega area for cycling in the last few years, with the Advantageous here and lots of mountain biking and trail riding. And tonight we concentrate on the events happening here inside the Advantageous. The world is in New Zealand. So a good crowd in. The temperature has been cranked up inside the velodrome to keep the track warm, and the world teams are all preparing. We've got a full program for you tonight too. We've got Kieran, we've got points races, we've got sprinting, and it's to sprinting we'll be going to go first, because we've got a classic New Zealand versus Australia battle first up. This fella here, Eddie Dawkins, against the Australian rocket, Matt Gleitzer. That's the first heat of the men's sprint semi-finals. The second heat will feature an all-German affair between Max Nadelag and Max Levy. So the riders wait to do the draw on the infield, just sitting there nervously and waiting. With me tonight, the Olympic bronze medalist from Barcelona, Gary Anderson. And Gary, nervous times for the bike riders.
Evening, John. Evening, world. Yes, making the draw, and this is where a bit of tension's rising before these guys get out on the track.
Neither lag will select one or two. Two, he said. So that means that Max Levy will go off the pole. So Anthony Peden, the coach of the New Zealand team, brings Eddie Dawkins up to the line. They've got their double toe straps. Lock them into their pedals. Matt Gleitzer was the fastest qualifier. He did a 9.6 in qualifying. So he has to go into this as the favourite, Gary.
Yeah, very much so. 9.6 this morning. A sea level track, so that is pretty close to the world's best at this level. Eddie
Dawkins is both these riders very animated when they're on the bike, so this is going to be a great contest between the two of them. They don't sit and wait, they get involved right from the gun. Gleitzer is one that does tend to move around a lot on his bike, and Eddie Dawkins is one that likes to weave around the track quite a bit. The starter checking they're okay, and now we begin the stare down. Gleitzer looking at Dawkins, and they roll slowly away from the line to begin this cat and mouse thing that the sprinters do over the first lap. They must maintain a walking pace at least, and the man on the pole must lead unless relieved of that lead by the other fellow who might come around him. So the commissaire walking alongside to make sure they're going fast enough. So after all that talk about how animated they were on the bike, what do? They roll around at a steady pace.
They're intense, though, aren't they? Look at the stare from Gleitzer. Eddie's got the tougher job at the moment. He's got to look over his shoulder. He's staying down at the bottom of the track, so he's only going to look over one shoulder rather than both of them if he was to sit in the middle of the track.
Dawkins at the front for New Zealand, and behind him in the Jayco team jersey for Australia, it's Matthew Gleitzer. And there's no change as they exit the back straight into the northern banking here at the Advantageous. The order has not changed, and still the stare down. Gleitzer is just staring straight ahead at Dawkins, watching that back of the front wheel. Now looks up at his face. Dawkins looking over his shoulder, and now Gleitzer comes out of the pole. Now they start to do a little bit of bobbing and weaving. Gleitzer decides to go up alongside Dawkins, does he? Dawkins is going to take him up the track. 2 laps to go. Now we get serious. This is a semi-final, remember. The winner goes through to ride for gold and silver. The loser goes for bronze. And Gleitzer jumps over the top of the Kiwi. The Kiwi now has work to do. The Aussie in the front, the Kiwi behind. The bell rings. We've got a lap to go. Gleitzer goes high. He's inviting Dawkins through, and he drops down into the pole line. They hit the 200-metre line, and they're off down the back straight. Has Dawkins got an answer to Gleitzer? Gleitzer it is that leads. Dawkins trying to come around the outside of him. Down to the line. It's going to be Gleitzer takes first blood. 10.297 the time from Matthew Gleitzer. 1-0 over Eddie Dawkins. There's the result. Matthew Gleitzer 1 up over the New Zealander.
You see Gleitzer here, he makes a great move. Boom, underneath, feigning slightly and over the top. Just got the drop on Eddie Dawkins ever so slightly, and it was enough to hold him out pretty comfortably in the end.
So it's Dawkins now that has all the work to do when they meet again in the second race. Matthew Gleitzer, 1-0. Let's go to the start-finish line and the all-German affair. Max Levy on pole and Max Niederlag on the outside. Niederlag was a very good qualifying time this afternoon. Getting a word of encouragement. Is the starter happy? Would appear so. And away we go on the journey. And Max Levy decides to go out a little bit quicker than the last heat. The disadvantage is that these two will know each other too well, maybe, Gary.
Yeah, I'd imagine they probably train together and race together very, very regularly. Whether or not that's an advantage or a disadvantage to either one of these two, we don't really know, John.
Very strong German sprint team here. You've got Ingles, Eisler, Forstermann. And then, of course, there's the women's sprint team as well from Germany here. So they've been doing very well. And so Niederlag goes down, drops down underneath Levy and takes him up and shows him the fence. There's the bell as they come into the front straight again to get one to go. Niederlag it is that has the advantage. He held up Levy, and now they hit the back straight. What has Max Levy got for Max Niederlag? Niederlag it is that leads into the final turn. They come through the turn. Can Levy get up alongside? No, he gives it away. And it's 1-0 to this fella, Max Niederlag, in the second semi-final. Well, just a little touch of the outside of the fists there to acknowledge the win. This could go to a best of 3 the way these two race. But you see about here, Levy realizes it's all over and just sits up. Men's team sprint action on the track. The Jayco AIS team of Matt Gleitzer. Here he is again. Peter Lewis, who was a substitute into the team, and Nathan Hart. And they were up against Great Britain, Philip Hines, Callum Skinner, and Jason Kenny. Philip Hines led off for the British, and it was Nathan for the Australians. Hines, Kenny and Skinner up against the might of the Australians. Little gap opening up there, but as Lewis took over, Gleitzer was in behind him, looking very strong. Jason Kenny, though, was too strong for Skinner behind him. And Gleitzer moved over nicely. So Skinner brought it home for the UK. Gleitzer for Australia. And down to the line, it was Australia that took the bronze medal from Great Britain. And it was pretty smart time for the Australians at 43.733. Then we went to the gold medal ride, Germany versus New Zealand. Very strong German team up against a very popular New Zealand team here in front of their home crowd. Ethan Mitchell, Sam Webster and Eddie Dawkins. And on the other side of the track was the German squad. And they wear the white jersey of World Cup leaders, Nederlag, Enders and Eilers. Enders, Eilers and Nederlag. New Zealand, Ethan Mitchell leading off. Really powerful start from the Germans. They're a pretty slick outfit. I said before, they've brought a dynamic sprint squad to New Zealand. Ethan Mitchell was leading off for the Kiwis. And it was already Germany up at the first change, but only just by 1/10. Then Webster took over for New Zealand and ate into that German lead. So it was tied up pretty much, only a thousandth of a second in it, but then on the last turn, it was the Germans powering their way as Eddie Dawkins had no answer to their power, and they won it in 43.130. And so the gold medal went to Germany, the silver to New Zealand, and the bronze to Australia. .43.130, Germany's winning time. And as we can see, Eilers really powering off that line. Nederlag in behind him. And then the handover to the third man. Joachim Eilers bringing it home. Looking up at the scoreboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
It was a great race. We were very fast. Yesterday in the qualification we won, and today we are a little bit faster, so all is good.
And now on track, it's the women's omnium elimination race. And a sprint lap, not an elimination race. This is the points race, I beg your pardon. And in the points race, we've got it is an elimination race. I do apologise. We're watching the elimination race from the women's omnium. And this became a mad scramble as riders were trying to avoid being the last rider across the line. And it was action aplenty. Keep an eye out for Annette Edmondson in that silver helmet, the world champion. Kiwi rider Holly Edmondson out early. So the pole at the front, Mexican behind her, Holly Edmondson, the world champion Annette Edmondson in there as well. And one by one, riders were called from the track, and every second lap the bell rang. can hear the commissaire yell out Belarus, and the Belarusian rider was sent to the infield as the field was whittled down. Alison Beveridge in there as well for Canada. Then the American Valente. It was her turn to leave the track. The Englishwoman dangling dangerously at the back there. That was Emily Kay. Yareli Salazar from Mexico was the next one to go. And the Russian and the British rider at the back now on the sprint lap. Jolene Dore on the front, Kirsten Wahl, and the Russian rider buried in there as well, Roman Yuta. And yet another sprint lap. Gut-busting stuff. Now, Annette Edmondson was starting to dangle dangerously at the back here at this point. The world champion. As the Polish rider, Wojtyła, was at the front. And that time, it was Emily Kay of Great Britain. Jolene Dore from Belgium and Annette Edmondson. And the pole looks around and says, oh, I think I've had enough, so I'll just pull off anyway. So she was eliminated at that point. Jolene Dore on the outside, trying to get in the front. Joined Kirsten Wahl from the Netherlands. Then the Russian, Roman Yuta. Edmondson. And at the back, Beveridge of Canada. And now down to 4 riders. Wahl and Dore. Russian, Roman Yuta. Great sprint for the line there, and the Russian eliminated. Roman Yuta off the track. So one rider to be eliminated before the final 2 are left there, and Edmondson, the Australian, trying to get back into it, but no, failing. So she will finish 3rd in the elimination race. Waves goodbye to the crowd, and so it came down to the big 2, Kirsten Wahl and Jolene Dore. Netherlands versus Belgium. Wahl on the inside for the Netherlands. Dore drops down underneath her. Nearly got chopped. Looks around to see if she's coming. And Wahl says, no, I can't be bothered. It's just too much for me. And Jolene Dore rides away to win the elimination race. Kirsten Wahl 2nd and Annette Edmondson, the world champion, in 3rd place. So after 3 events, there was the point situation. As we go to the flying lap, Alison Beveridge from Canada. And she went into the lead with a time of 13.932. Here's a replay. Alison Beveridge of Canada, the fastest in the women's 1-lap dash. Edmondson second, Valente third, and Chow of China Taipei in 4th place. So the overall points as we go into this final event, the points race, Annette Edmondson on 185 from Alison Beveridge and Jolene Dorr on 156. So the top 3 reasonably close, but very close between the top 2, Edmondson and Beveridge. And then as we work our way down through the field, Julan from France on 100 points. Further down we can see Frapporti of Italy on 72, Holly Edmondson of New Zealand on 66, and down to the 23rd rider, Osrine Trabe of Lithuania on 32. So we join now the points race in progress, and we have a bell ringing with 71 laps to go. Gary, you've been keeping an eye on it. We have Beveridge taking most of the points so far by the looks of things.
Yeah, with the points race, the points that they win in this event are added to the total that they've accumulated in the previous 5 events. And at the moment, we've got Alison Beveridge of Canada, who's moved into the lead by 1 point from Nelly Edmondson from Australia.
So the American on the front taking the points, Valente, at that sprint. And right behind her is Jolene Dorr. Remember, Jolene Dorr is 3rd overall at the moment.
So the way the points race runs, if any rider laps the field at all, they will gain 20 points. So at this particular point in time, the Belgium, Dorr, will be trying extremely hard. And look at that, they've gained half a lap already. The field's set up. Of course, so would Jennifer Valente.
So looking at these front 2, they are looking as if they're going to pick up a lap here. Valente and Dorr. Holly Edmondson back there for New Zealand swings up, and the lap is on, and this is going to hurt Alison Beveridge and Annette Edmondson, as Jolene Dorr is in the middles. The crowd encourage them to make this lap. The rest of them are going to make them work for it.
If they're clever here, these two, they could just sit off the back of the field and take their next upcoming sprint, but I think they're pretty desperate to gain the lap. So they've made contact. 20 points each for Valente and Dior. That puts Dior up to 77 points, so still a little way off the 2 leaders.
So just watching them as they come across the line. Spaniard swings up and hands it over. So the commissaire on the start-finish line is pointing to the rider on the other side of the track, and that's Alison Beveridge. And she'll get the bell for this next sprint at 60 laps to go. Meanwhile, the peloton are working their way into the start-finish straight. So Beveridge is away, and hunting her down now is the rider from Belarus. So there's your leader, the red-headed Alison Beveridge. She'll pick up the sprints here, 5 points. Next points, it's a very close call between the Belarusian and the Venezuelan. And that, Gary, has put Beveridge in the lead in the competition.
Yes, she took the 5 points in that sprint. Anna Edmondson not scoring any points in that sprint, so Canadian taking the lead.
So we have 2 riders off the front at the moment. Riding for France, that's rider number 18 in the front there for France. And they swing up. They've had enough of that. And they leave it for the Dane to take over. And riding for Denmark is Amelia Didriksen. Pole now is left in the pole. That's Voitira. And now a big charge coming on down the outside from the Lithuanian rider. Trebeta, Ozrine Trebeta. And Trebeta is starting to eat into this, and she's got about a quarter of a lap, and she's going away from them. Ozrine Trebeta, she's not in medal contention. She's a fair way down in the standings going into this. She was in 23rd. But the rest of them are not willing to chase. They don't seem to be too concerned whatsoever about what's going on off the front. But taking the initiative is Jenny Romanuta back in the peloton. And she's decided that she will lead the peloton and she will chase. But there's the back. You can just see it appearing in shot there on the left-hand side, the back of the peloton. So there she is, Ozrine Trebeta. Now they've put the pace on and she's starting to feel it. And she's been stranded in no man's land now. Trebeta. Remember, overall, Beveridge leads from Edmondson and Dorr. Those are the points. And now there's a hunt coming on. Romanuta picking up the points there. She got it ahead of Oliveira of Spain. Trebeta dying 1,000 deaths out there now. Now being hunted down by rider number 23 from Germany. Hasn't had a great competition, Anna Nauer. She's down in 20th place overall. But she's having a go. There she is in the background there. Jolene Dorr swings up. The next rider behind her, Anna Edmondson, also swings up. So they're leaving the German Nauer out there, and they're leaving Trebeta out there. Now the Colombian has a crack off the front. That's Salcedo, Janie Salcedo. So we've got 3 riders off the front. Nothing looks terribly serious, however, because there's no real effort coming from the peloton. The result of that sprint, Trebeta winning it. It doesn't alter the overall situation, though, in the competition.
That's why these riders are being let go, really, John. They're not a massive threat to the overall. Still great to see them making the effort to be competitive in the event. But at this late stage, after already completing 5 disciplines, they're not going to affect the medals.
So 3 riders at the front. There's the gap. And as you can see, one rider having a crack is Jennifer Valente of the USA, Jolene Dore of Belgium after her. And now Kirsten Wild decides that she's going to go because Jolene Dore is gone, and Holly Edmondson, the Kiwi, is also interested. And so she jumps up to the wheel. And this great attack that was started by the Lithuanian has all come to naught because we have a new leader on the track, and that is Jennifer Valente of the USA.
Now, if Valente was to take a lap, that would put her up into 3rd place overall.
But they've seen the danger, and the Danes are coming chasing after her. Danish rider Emily Didriksen. And hunting her down is Lau of China. There's the points overall. And Valente not getting too far away. Jolene Dore very keen to chase it down. Didriksen on her wheel. Kirsten Wild is there. Edmondson of Australia. And then Beveridge of Canada. Then the British rider, Emily Kay. So Valente about to be caught on the bell. Kirsten Wild looking for the points here. Jolene Dore, Edmondson. Here comes Beveridge around the outside of Edmondson. Coming around the outside of Jolene Dore as well, and heading up for Wild, and looks like Beveridge might take this one. And it is Alison Beveridge. That's a great victory for her, and that'll add a pile of points towards the overall.
So Beveridge from Canada moves 10 points clear now of Annie Edmondson.
Emily Kay from Great Britain on the front. There's the point situation from that sprint. Beveridge, Dore, Phil and Edmondson. So the French rider on her own out the front, swings up, hands over. Pascal Joulin. Angie Gonzalez, the Venezuelan, swung up. And now it's back to Pascal Joulin. Beveridge hiding in the bunch. No real pace on at the moment. Looking for someone to come charging out of there. 37 laps to go. Beveridge trying to recover from that last sprint. Should be hoping to take another one to kind of seal the deal here.
4 sprints left in the event, John. And if the current riders in 2nd and 3rd place want to win the gold medal, they're really going to have to take some points in these next couple of sprints.
Didriksen leads them across the line. On the outside of her is the Mexican Salazar. Kiwi Edmondson. Emily Kay swings up. Pascal Joulin at the front by default. Emily Kay outside of her, just rolling around the track. 33 laps to go, and now a move, and it looks like it's the Dane. No, it's the rider from Belarus who's hit the front. That's Sharakova, Tatiana Sharakova. Sharakova, Wojtyła of Poland behind her, and then the Russian Romanuta, Joulin, and then Salazar coming through on the inside from Mexico. So Salazar takes over at the front. Joulin on her wheel, then the Venezuelan. It's Gonzalez. So they'll get a bell again as they come past, and we'll sprint to the 30 to go lap. The bell tolls, Julan will lead them across the line. And the Belarusian, Sharikova, charging around the outside, looking for the big guns. Here they come, Kirsten Wald and Jolene Dor making an appearance at the back of this group. Roman Yuta for Russia. Sharikova, Roman Yuta just got her on the line. And in behind them, Gonzalez of Venezuela. And it looked like Kirsten Wald might have got up for 4th place for that single point. Roman Yuta, we'll get the official result up on the screen for you as soon as we get it from the Tissot timing people. And the Chinese rider Gao decides to go to the front. Lau, I beg your pardon. And she's away on her own, has the length of the straight away from the rest. Pascal Julan coming out of the bunch. No, it's the Kiwi Edmondson coming out of the bunch and chasing her down, and the crowd noise lifts because the New Zealander is at the front. There's the result of that sprint. Lau. There's the New Zealander, Edmondson, hunting her down.
At the moment, we're seeing that really it's the minor places back in 6th, 7th and 8th that are being sort of swapped around with some of these sprints. I think the overall leaders, they've got not much left, John. I think they've put a lot of effort into the previous events, and they look tired out there.
The rider sitting in 3rd at the moment is the rider from Hong Kong, Diao. She's riding on her own. She's caught between the front 2 and the peloton. So there's the front 2, Edmondson, New Zealand, and Lau of China. And behind them is the Hong Kong rider, and she's about to be caught by the peloton. And rolling over the top of her is the Mexican, Salazar. And very quickly moving up to the front 2, who swing up. They've got nothing left. And Salazar has bridged the gap for everybody, and she decides that she's had enough. So swings up. So Diedrichsen rolls through, and she inherits the pole, but doesn't really want it. So moves up to the training line, and they all wait for somebody else to have a crack with 23 laps to go this time. There's the overall. Beveridge leads on 196 and Edmondson on 186. Dor on 180. The pole, Moitera, moves over. And again, Holly Edmondson from New Zealand and Kirsten Wald. Now, a move coming from further back on the high side. With 22 to go. 2 laps to the next sprint. Let's see what Beveridge has got for this one. Jolene Dor making a move. You can see that light blue jersey with the red, black and yellow stripes coming around the outside. The bell rings. Kirsten Wald it is at the front. Diedrichsen on her wheel, then Edmondson and the world champion Annette Edmondson around the outside of them. And here comes Beveridge all the way from the back up to second and up alongside the Kirsten Wald, and she takes that one. So the Canadian putting on an impressive display here, and that'll put her further in the front in the points.
I was going to say just before that sprint, John, there was only a maximum of 15 points left available in sprints, and unless anybody took a lap, which hasn't looked likely, nobody could really threaten the lead of Alison Beveridge, and she's just put the nail in the coffin now.
Wins that one from Wald, Diedrichsen and Edmondson. And overall now, Beveridge has 201, Edmondson of Australia 187, and Jolene Dor of Belgium 180 points. And the field splits now. We have 2 at the front. There's the overall points with just 2 sprints to go. And a little bit of a split. And we've got Italy, Great Britain, China, France and Venezuela off the front, but the rest are all closing up behind them.
So the only real battle left out there is between Annette Edmondson, Dior of Belgium and World of the Netherlands. They're the only ones that can swap places really, as long as Alison Beveridge makes it over the line safely, she will win the event overall after 2 days and 6 events.
Wojtyła on the front for Poland. Jolene Dore on her wheel. Then the Italian, Frapporti. Frapporti takes over from Trebeta of Lithuania. Emily Kay, I say Ruminuta it is. Then Kirsten Wahl. Alison Beveridge sitting on the wheel of Annette Edmondson. So Holly Edmonston. There's a T in Edmonston and no T in Edmondson. There's a difference between the Kiwi and the Australian rider. Emily Kay it is of Great Britain leads the peloton at the moment. Up high, down the bottom, Jennifer Valente decides to roll through. And all the rest say, thank you, we'll sit on that wheel. Jennifer Valente stays down on the pole. Just a nice steady pace. Wojtyła on her wheel. Jolene Dore around outside. Then Salazar of Mexico, Emily Kay is in there as well. And coming around the outside, Pascal Jullin, because the bell is going to sound and the troops are massing for the big gallop. And here they come. One big bunch. Jennifer Valente down on the pole. Jolene Dore outside of her. Can't see Beveridge at the moment. She's further back. She's not interested in this one. She's going to leave it to the rest. And it's Ruminuta of Russia on the outside. Ruminuta, then Valente, then Jolene Dore and Pascal Jullin of France. So we have just the one sprint to go to decide this contest. Beveridge buried in the bunch. These front two just rolling across the line.
Pretty tired legs out there, I think, John.
Yeah, nobody's keen to take the pole. Now, Emily Kay's making a move. Here she goes. Rides between Wojtyła and the rest of the riders up high. Emily Kay deciding that she'll take the last sprint. So she rolls off on her own. Whether they'll let her or not is another thought. Wojtyła about 40 metres back now, and then it's back to the Spanish rider, Oliveira. That's the overall situation you've just seen. Beveridge seems quite secure there. Emily Kay from Great Britain leads down the back straight.
Edmondson and Beveridge would be quite happy to see somebody else take these last points away. We'll seal the silver medal from Edmondson over the Belgium.
Noah of Germany, Emily Kay of Great Britain off the front. And then Trebeta of Lithuania. And there's Beveridge. Laps counting down. Oliveira from Spain on the front. Kirsten Wahl goes through to the pole. Salazar of Mexico on her wheel. Jolene Dore is there wherever Kirsten Wahl goes. Jolene Dore is sure to follow, and vice versa. Great rivals, these two. And the Austrian making an appearance at the front for the first time in the bike race. And they all swing up the track. 3 laps next time to go. Oliveira again going to the front. Valente decides to go up and join her. Here she comes around the outside of Wojtyła, and Didriksen of Denmark as well. Here's Beveridge. She wants to be a part of this. She's on Edmondson's wheel. They swing up. They've got 2 to go next time. So this is the business end of the bike race. Alison Beveridge is going to win it overall. So Valente rolls at the front. Lau behind her for China. Valente, Lau, Didriksen, Wahl, then Gonzalez, Dore. Kirsten Wahl come around. She'll go for the bell. And Gonzalez of Venezuela is going to lead them across with 1 to go. Lau on the outside of her. Kirsten Wahl is fighting for that second place along with her, looking further back to see where the attacks are coming from. There doesn't seem to be too much interest in this from Beveridge or Edmondson. And going down to the line, Gonzalez and Lau. Lau will take it. Lau will take the victory. Across the line for the last sprint. But overall, it's going to be Alison Beveridge from Annette Edmondson and Jolene Dorr.
Yep, Alison Beveridge from Canada showing great all-around skill to participate in 6 events in 2 days, coming out with a total of 201 points. Ahead of Annette Edmondson of Australia with 187, Dior of Belgium with 182, Kirsten Wild of the Netherlands with 173. So reasonably close at the top, but one standout competitor there.
And there she is, across the line to win that sprint. In the last sprint to Lau of China, Alison Beveridge tucked up behind them, and Craig Griffin, the coach of the Canadian team, more than happy. A gold medal in the bag. Looking very modest in victory too, I have to say, Alison Beveridge. Congratulations all around. Some very, very tired bike riders. This is the Omnium. This is their 6th event over 2 days. They will be fair tuckered out, as we say in New Zealand.
Certainly will. It's hot in here. These riders are all pretty experienced at this level. They know what to do. They know how to prepare themselves well to recover in between the events. And you have to be consistent through 6 events, 6 different disciplines.
Well, we're just rushing through the results there. We've given you the first half dozen. Beveridge, Edmondson, Dorr, Vile, Valente and Moitia. As we follow our winner back down through the pits. Now the smile. The first smile we've seen from her. So maybe it's just sunk in that she has won the World Cup race. And there it is confirmed again for you. Alison Beveridge from Annette Edmondson, Jolene Dorr, Kirsten Val, Valente, Wojtyła, Sharakova and Gonzalez. Those are your top 8. Working our way down the list. See your favourite there. Oliveri in 11th. Rapporti of Italy in 12th. Emily Kay in 15th. Lau, who won that last sprint, finishes 16th overall after the 6 events. New Zealander Edmondson in 18th, Dietrichson 19th, and down to Trebeta, who was the 23rd and last finish. All right, let's go sprinting, shall we? Matthew Gleitzer and Eddie Dawkins come out on track again to sort this out. If Gleitzer wins, he gets the gold medal. If Dawkins wins, we go to a 3rd and deciding ride. Next to Eddie Dawkins, Niederlag of Germany, and Max Levy will be beside him somewhere, and they will ride the 2nd semi-final. So we have a race for 5th to 8th places in the sprint coming up, and the riders in that are just keeping their legs fresh, rolling around. And it looks like Matt Gleitzer will have the pole this time. Start from 1. Here we go, and that indicates that Gleitzer has 1 ride up. Gary, question: what does Eddie Dawkins have to do to get back into this?
Well, obviously he's got to win. I think really he's probably got to try and lead out or hold up Matthew Gleitzer. Gleitzer at the moment just on great form, incredibly quick this morning. Eddie's got to try something slightly different to the first ride.
Girls edging her bets there. She's got Go Eddie on one side and Go Alex on the other. Alex referring to Alex Frame, the New Zealand team. New Zealand coach Anthony Peden And the stare down begins as we roll off the line. 3 laps of the track here at the Advantageous in Cambridge. This is the second ride in the first semi-final, the men's sprint. Gleitzer looking over his shoulder now. Dawkins steering him down. Crowd getting involved. You can bet that 90% of them will be after the man in the black jersey. Rolling around to complete the first lap. Nothing's happened yet, nothing to report. 2 to go. Gleitzer moves up the track slightly, picks up the speed slightly. Dawkins responds. They drop down, use a little bit of banking, and now the pace goes on. They'll come around, they'll get the bell. Here it is. Eddie Dawkins fainted to go inside. Now he goes up top. He's going to use the banking, and he's going to chop down inside. Gleitzer saw it coming and closed the door. They head down the back straight. They're committed. They've got to ride a straight line now. Gleitzer, all arms as he heads on the northern banking. Eddie Dawkins behind him. Can he get around him? No, he can't. It's all over. And Matt Gleitzer will win this one 2-0. Eddie Dawkins will ride for bronze. Matt Gleitzer will ride for gold and silver.
So Dawkins tried. He tried to hit Gleitzer hard, but he was up to the task, Matt Gleitzer from Australia, and just put the hammer down. Not Eddie's day today. Riding off for 3rd and 4th a little bit later on this evening.
That was good riding from Matt Gleitzer. The way he knew Eddie Dawkins was coming, and he closed the gate as they were coming around to the 200-metre line, because Dawkins was heading for that inside line.
Now, sprinting not just about pure speed, but also about tactics and responding to what's going on in the blink of an eye.
So Matt Gleitzer through to the gold medal ride. Who will join him? We'll find out. Max Niederlag and Max Levy. Niederlag on the inside, Max Levy here on the outside.
This race is going to be done to the max, isn't it?
Oh, you had to, didn't you? So Max Niederlag goes into the pole. Looks very relaxed, and Max Levy follows him around. Looking under his arms to see if there's any movement behind him, now over his shoulder. He only has to look the one way. On the one side, Levy will go up to the fence. They've completed half a lap. Now they drop down into the pole. Reasonable pace on. Remember that it's now up for Levy. Here they come, winding up. They'll get the bell when they come around to the other side of the track. Niederlag, Levy. Bell rings, and Max Levy drops to the pole. Steals a march on his compatriot. He's got the pole line. He's up to the 200-metre line. They're committed to their sprint, and they go down the back straight. Niederlag, what's he got left? Max Levy, power on. Niederlag round the outside. He's up to his shoulder. He's out the finish, and he's got it. Great display of sprinting from the German Max Niederlag to go through and take it 2-0.
Max Levy tried, didn't he? He got the jump, made the move, but Niederlag was up to the task, and man, did he put a burst down the back straight to close the gap up. and then just sailed straight by. Here we go. Levy through the inside. Mid-leg just put in a big burst down the back straight, closed the back, closed the gap, and managed to climb over the top of Max Levy and take the win. 2-0 into the final. Gee, it's going to be a good final.
Actually, yeah, it's one worth looking forward to, that's for sure, because Matt Gleitz is in great form, and this fellow has shown a lot of power as well. Action now from the women's team pursuit, and the ride for the bronze medal was between New Zealand and the United States. For New Zealand, Rushley Buchanan, Jamie Nielsen, Lauren Ellis and Georgia Williams. Big job for them, because on the other side of the track was a formidable opponent in the United States. Kelly Catlin, Lauren Stevens, Elizabeth Hernandez and Ruth Winder. The Kiwis powering away from the line. Nice form as they get off the line. The Americans lined up in order as well. And at the completion of the first lap, it was New Zealand up by 0.3 of a second. And already half a second up. But the Americans holding their shape, as were the Kiwis. The Americans minus the amazing Sarah Hammer for this World Cup round. At half distance, the gap 2 seconds between New Zealand and the United States. The crowd really getting into it, lifting the local girls. 3 of the riders from New Zealand have been together a long time. Alice Buchanan and Buchanan and Nielsen. Georgia Williams, the last to join the team. And now the Americans starting to break up. As you can see, getting ragged. They rang the bell. New Zealand all 4 together. The Americans in disarray. There were 2 riders and then a gap to the 3rd rider. And as they came down to the line, the Kiwis fanned out across the track and stopped the clock in 4:23.011. The United States was some margin behind them. So New Zealand are 4:23, a very respectable time. The United States are 4:29.7. And the ride now for the gold medal, Australia versus Canada. Australia, Ashley Ann Kudinoff, Amy Cure, Georgia Baker and Isabella King. In their World Championship jerseys, 2 of the riders. And Canada, the World Cup leaders, Alison Beveridge, who we saw in the points race, leading the way there for that team. Canadian team over the last 4 or so years have really come to prominence in women's pursuiting, along with the United States. The British team were entered here, but they had a development team. The Brits hold the world record and really are the team to beat, but came to New Zealand with the development team, who were unplaced in the competition, although they did return a couple of very good times and got better and looked quite impressive as the competition went on. So Craig Griffin, the Canadian coach, marking out the gap for his charges. as the Australians kept that pace on. The World Championship quartet. And at the 1500 metre mark, they were well and truly up. But the Canadians are a powerhouse in this particular discipline. And so it was left for Australia to close this one out. And the splits were coming thick and fast as the Canadian coach was counting them in with their lap times and encouraging them at the 2000 metre mark. They actually had a bit of a lead, but the Aussies are maintaining their shape. Canadians with Beveridge in the front now, saying one down. And at 2.5 Ks, that was Australia up by 2/10. And the crowd getting excited for them. The announcer urging them on. It was very close, only 0.07 of a second in it at the 3000 metre mark. And all four riders on both teams hanging in there, taking their even turns, lapping it out. Craig Griffin saying you're one down on your schedule. Now the Australians down to 3. The Canadians down to 3. With 2 laps to go. It was very close. Australia were down by 1/10. It was seesawing backwards and forwards, the lead in the competition. Racing for the gold medal in the women's team pursuit. 3 against 3, and at the bell. Look at the gap. Australians just down. Here comes Canada. Half a lap in it. It's even. And so we watch intently at the finishing line. Who would take this one? And just Australia by 0.05 of a second. It couldn't have been much closer than that. And Gary Sutton, the Australian coach, he couldn't believe it. I've never seen him smile so broadly. Look at how close it was. 4:18.213 against 4:18.267.
Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
We knew we had our work cut out and it would take a really good time after we just backed up 2 hours later to win. And I mean, we were putting it all on the line and we didn't actually know until we really crossed the line and had half a lap to go around the track, and then we knew we'd won. So it was a pretty special moment.
And now we go to men's sprinting, the race for 5th to 8th places. And the 4 riders involved here: Pat Constable of Australia, Nissan Phillip of Trinidad and Tobago, Damien Zielinski of Poland, and Sam Webster of New Zealand. This is, Gary, pretty much a seeding race, isn't it?
Yep, gives them a ranking. And I'm sure Sam Webster will want the highest one that he can.
Nissan Phillip from Trinidad and Tobago, ready to go. Coming up onto the track. Always a bit of entertainment this race because there's nothing to lose, and so they do tend to mix it up a little bit more, and they all run a little bit faster, these 4-up sprints.
Yeah, positioning pretty important. Don't really want to be caught back in 4th place. Much harder to get around 2 or 3 riders as opposed to just one, so a bit more jostling perhaps in the first lap or so.
And a New Zealander involved, so you can bet the crowd will be in behind them, so a lot of interest here. Big crowd in at the Advantageous in Cambridge, in the heartland of the North Island. Massive farming country around here. Dairy industry, and also horse racing, horse breeding. Some of the best stables in the world, some of the best breeding stables in the world within an afternoon's trot from the Avanti drone. Nissan Phillip there. Damien Zielinski on the outside. There he is. And Sam Webster on the inside. And as predicted, there'll be no mucking around here for this 4-up sprint. Away we go. Pat Constable in second, Nissan Phillip third, Damien Zielinski at the back, Eddie Dawkins at the front. 3 laps of the track. It's going to be a quickie. Eddie Dawkins looking, I beg your pardon, Sam Webster looking around, Pat Constable. Constable looking around at the other two, Nissan Phillip. He's got the best view of the race. He's just sitting at the back. He better pull his finger out because here comes a move from Zielinski around the outside. Zielinski goes around Constable. They're at the bell. Sam Webster leads the way. Webster's got the work to do because here comes Zielinski over the top of him. And you know he's going to chop down, but Webster's not going to let him. Nissan Phillip is going to go 3 wide. Constable's out of it. It's Zielinski and Nissan Phillip down to the line. Nissan Phillip can't quite get there. And it'll be Damien Zielinski will be officially 5th when the paperwork comes out, ahead of Nissan Phillip of Trinidad and Tobago.
It was Sam Webster that hit out early, looking for the advantage of leading it out. When in doubt, lead it out. So that's what he did. But Zielinski and Phillip too strong.
Yeah, Zielinski was all elbows and Nissan Phillip was coming hard at him. Been impressed with Nissan Phillip and Zielinski in this one, and both of them improving on the last time we saw them. There we are. Damien Zielinski, Nissan Phillip, Pat Constable and Sam Webster. That's the order they cross the line, and they will be ranked 5th to 8th. So, women's Keirin now. And excitement aplenty. Second round, heat 1. The first 3 riders in each heat qualify for the final, for a race for the gold. And riders 4 through 6 are off to the race for 7th through 12th. Quality field in here. There's Calvo of Spain, Weisei Li of Hong Kong, Chuang Gao, the sprinter in the middle, and representing the Netherlands in here will be, she's actually in the second heat, the Netherlands rider, Van Rijssen. So they've mixed them up on the seat. That's all right, as long as they know to come out in the right order on the track.
Just in the shot there for a second, former world individual pursuit champion Alison Shanks, domiciled now here in Cambridge, New Zealand.
All right, coming out onto the track. The second heat take their seats. The first heat coming up onto the track. All the different teams, Gary, with their recording devices and their analysts.
Yeah, these days everything's recorded by the teams, so they can instantly look back and see what they've done right and wrong. They go back, analyse the competition. They use them every day in training as well. Straight away, very easy to visually explain to the riders what they should be doing in training.
So coming out onto the outside, the Ukrainian Basova. Calvo of Spain, Weisei Li of Hong Kong, Chuang Gao in the middle, So Weisei Li will be at the top of the track. Here she is. Weisei Li, bronze medalist at the London Olympics. Young lady that we haven't seen before at World Cup level, Basova of the Ukraine. Xuan Gao, one of the form sprinters of the competition and one of the form sprinters in the world. Ginny Quaif from France. Tania Calvo of Spain. And there she is, the queen of the track, Christina Vogel. Winner of the sprint competition at the last round in Cali in Colombia. So we'll wait for the commissaire, the starter, to indicate the moto to come around. And here comes the moto. And he will get up to the required speed. And it's an electric bike this time, not one of the internal combustion chamber engines that we normally see at velodromes around the world. This one's eco-friendly, and there goes the gun. And who wants the bike? And it looks like Weisei Li of Hong Kong will settle in, the bronze medalist from the Olympic Games. The team sprint gold medalist from the Olympic Games, Christina Vogel, settles in behind her. There's the first rider we get to look at, Weisei Li of Hong Kong. Very popular rider. And behind her is the queen of the track at the moment. She's been in the spotlight, winning the sprint here. That's Christina Vogel of Germany. Tania Calvo is the next rider in the yellow and red for Spain. Behind her, Ginny Quaif of France. Everybody riding in order at the moment. There's Xuan Gao, who slid down the track the other night and got a restart, which was interesting. She brought herself down in the sprints. And at the back, Basova of the Ukraine. 6 laps to go. You're picking Christina Vogel here?
Well, she's a hot favourite, I think, really, eh? Also winning the sprint yesterday.
You'd have to look at Xuan Gao as well, the form that she's been in.
Yeah, probably improving form.
There she is. And of course, never discount Weisei Li. First 3 go through to the final to ride off for gold. They'll get 3 to go this time, and that will mean that the moto will spin off the track. Sorry, not spin off the track, but come down off the track. And at 45 kilometers an hour, there goes the moto. They can pass now. They're on their own. Li, Vogel, Calvo, Quaif, Gao is going to be the first to move, and she moves up onto Quaif's wheel. And Quaif goes round and into the lead, and Gao is on her. And where's Christina Vogel? Christina Vogel is working her way out of the pack and coming up to them. They come around to get the bell. And at the front for Ginny Quaif, Weisei Li is still in there, and Gao and Vogel bang shoulders, and Christina Vogel has now got a lot of work to do to make the final. Remember, it's only 3 that go through. Li, Quaif, Gao, and here's Basova of the Ukraine fighting down between them, and Christina Vogel's going to miss out. It's Weisei Li. On the outside was Xuan Gao, and a toss-up for who was going to get third between Ginny Quaif and Basova, who came from nowhere from the Ukraine. This is going to be an interesting replay.
Wow. Well, we thought Vogel would be the one, didn't we? But no, not looking at all like she had the legs in that event.
And look at the shoulder coming in. The elbow comes in. Vogel leans down. Gao goes up. And this is relegating Christina Vogel to the back. And here we go down to the line. Weisei Li will win it. Second will be Xuan Gao, and it may be the Ukrainian there. There's a surprise. Will get through into the final ahead of Ginny Quaif. And here is the result. And yes, Lee, Gao, Barsova will go through. Quaife, Vogel and Calvo will ride in the 7th to 12th place event, the B final.
Yeah, I didn't think there was too much in that in the elbow there. Obviously, they're millimetres apart, these riders, so there are times when there is a bit of bumping, a bit of movement, but I don't think anything too sinister in that.
Women's Kieran, second round and the second heat. Same as the first three go through to the final. There's the Australian, and that's Anna Mears. Inside of her, Hae-Jin Lee of Korea, very impressive in the early rounds. Loreen van Rijssen. Tianqi Zhong of China. And from Canada, Monique Sullivan. And from New Zealand on pole is Natasha Hansen. Natasha, an air traffic controller, was at the Invercargill Airport. She's moved up here to Cambridge to train and is now at Hamilton Airport. So Natasha Hansen on the inside. The New Zealanders all be screaming themselves hoarse for her. Who wants the wheel of the moto? And it looks like it's going to be Lee. Hae-Jin Lee of Korea will take it. Monique Sullivan will go second. Bit of a shoulder to shoulder here between the Chinese rider and the New Zealand rider. Who wants the next position? And Natasha Hansen says, I'll have it, thank you very much. You go to the back. So Anna Mears is in 4th spot. Van Rijssen is in 5th, and settling at the back is Tianqi Zhong. So let's go through them behind the wheel of the moto. 7 laps to go. And here is the rider from Korea, and that's Hae-Jin Lee, an Olympian, very experienced in the keirin. Monique Sullivan, another rider with a lot of experience, been around a long time, rider number 95 there. Natasha Hansen, the next rider from New Zealand, sitting on 3rd wheel. And then it is the world keirin champion. Let's not forget that, riding out of South Australia now, it's Anna Mears. Loreen van Rijssen is on her wheel. And at the back, from China, Tianqi Zhong. Anna Mears reporting some sort of injury early on in the competition, didn't ride the individual sprint or the team sprint, and is just riding the keirin here in Cambridge. So the next time by, it'll be 3 to go. Korean on an Italian bike, leading the way. Ahead of a Canadian on a French bike. So 3 to go, which means the moto is going to pull into the infield when he gets halfway down the straight. And Hae-Jin Lee is looking around to see what's going on. And they'll all be watching each other at the moment. Some big gaps opening up, and Zhong from China decides to go. Anna Mears sense it coming and also jumps away. Monique Sullivan too. Natasha Hansen decides to join in, and they're up to Hae-Jin Lee already. Anna Mears down the back straight. They'll get the bell this time around. Out the outside, Van Rijssen of the Netherlands. The first 3 go through to the final to ride for the medals. And it's Anna Mears, Van Rijssen and Zhong. They're the first 3 at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any charge coming from the back. Natasha Hansen's going to have to go 6 wide. The crowd get in behind to try and cheer her on. And the Canadian is coming as well, Monique Sullivan. And at the line, Anna Mears quite comfortably. We'll give that to Anna Mears. The minor placings we'll have a look at. Zhong was the first to start it. Anna Mears sensed it coming, and she went after it. and they rolled over the top of Lee very quickly. This is where they came down to the finish line. Now, Anna Mears will win it. Monique Sullivan is in there. On Zhang on the inside, they'll be the first three.
Interesting to see if they think Jean for riding down the blue band. I don't think she advanced a position, but let's see if I've got anything to say about that. But clear victory there for Anna Mears, all class, isn't she?
She certainly is. Anna Mears, Monique Sullivan and Tainchi Zhang, their first three, they qualify. Haijin Lee, Lorraine Ryson and Natasha Hansen round out your top six. When we have the final for you later on this evening here at Cambridge. Look how close it was for that second and third spot. Yeah, very close between the two. And Haijin Lee on the outside, just missing out. So we go to the men's sprint now, the finals. And this is the ride-off for third and fourth. A bronze medal on offer here. It's the best of three. And this will feature Max Levy of Germany and Eddie Dawkins of New Zealand. No prizes for guessing which way the crowd will go. So they roll away off the line, and it's very intense between the two of them. Wouldn't like to pick this one on paper. The results of the qualifying and past performances, even then you wouldn't want to pick it. So Dawkins takes Levy up a bit. Dawkins is quite an animated bike rider. Moves around a lot. Taking them up the banking. Now down the banking. Winding the speed up. Trying to tempt Levy to make an early decision. This time he goes up high. He's just going to wind it up. Dawkins shows him the fence. Says, there it is up there, pal. And rolls down to the training line. Now Dawkins commits himself. The pace is on. Max Levy up to his shoulder. The bell rings. It's shoulder to shoulder action. Levy rolls over the top of them. Coming to the 200-meter line. The Kiwi has got work to do. He's got a big gear on. Can he wind it up sufficiently? Because Max Levy has the lead and he's holding it. He's holding it down the front straight and he will win it. Max Levy will go one up. So we'll go to the second ride with the Kiwi. Lots of work to do.
Absolutely there. Dawkins giving it his all, but the experience of Levy showing in just a little bit of pure speed.
Here's the move. Dawkins was the first to go. Committed himself after that bit of a flick. And then at the finish line, it was all Levy.
Dawkins trying to unsettle Levy a little bit there, but Levy's having none of it.
Yeah, far too experienced for that. So, due to come out, the ride for the gold and silver. Germany versus Australia. Hard to pick this one. There's Matt Gleitzer for Australia. And inside of him, Max Niederlag of Germany. Referee blows his whistle, sends them on their way. And Niederlag decides to take the lead. and will roll down the back straight, looking under his shoulder, and Gleitzer, that perfect back position, getting very low in the saddle, staring down the German, and almost at a standstill in the back straight. Still the same, just looking under his shoulder, waiting to see if there's any movement left or right.
Niederleg can see the shadow that Gleitzer created from the lighting, so he's using those little things just to keep an eye on him without actually having to turn his head.
2 laps to go. Speed picks up now. Niederleg, Gleitzer the outside. Niederleg picks up the pace, takes him up high on the banking, holds him there, and now they dive down at the bell into the second to last turn. Gleitzer goes high, got a bit of a flick there, and so they're committed down the back straight. Niederleg on the inside, the Australian on the outside, and here's Gleitzer up the outside. Gleitzer's going, oh, it's closer than I thought it was going to be, but Gleitzer will win it.
Great sprinting aid. When we see the replay, we'll see that Matthew Gleitzer, he didn't want to hit right into the first banking after the bell, and he went a little high and used the drop-off and really powered down the back straight. These guys are going so quick, it's actually it's harder to pass on the bends. You're going that little bit wider, a little bit further, covering a bit more ground, so try to make most of the passing movement in the straight.
On the inside, Niederleg was looking across and realized about 10 meters out that Gleitzer was coming at a great rate of knots. Gleitzer, as tidy as I've ever seen him, and at the line, he had it by maybe half a wheel. So Gleitzer, 1 up. The women's sprint, and what a great contest this was. Simona Krupskaita against Xuan Gao. So Xuan Gao had been lucky to make it through to this round. She'd had a spill in one of the earlier rounds, and as we interpreted the rules, she should have been eliminated at that point, but she was given a re-ride and won it and managed to get through to the finals, the semi-finals, and then on to the ride-off for the bronze. And this was the first ride as they came down to get the bell. Krupskaita leading from Xuan Gao, and Gao up to her shoulder and fighting to try and get past the Lithuanian. The Lithuanian fought back, and Gao had no answer in the first ride. And 11.316. It was a tidy performance from Krupskaita. The ride for the gold and silver was between Christina Vogel and Stephanie Morton. Morton subbing in for Anna Mears. It shows the depth of Australian sprinting. Christina Vogel, obviously the world champion, and she had those rainbow stripes on. And Stephanie Morton had looked pretty good in the early rounds, and we thought, well, she's going to give Vogel a great run for her money. So there was a lot of interest in this one. Morton had been quite impressive coming through the rounds. sitting there watching Christina Vogel as they work their way up the track. Vogel just waiting for something to happen. Went to a standstill, a half pie standstill. And then with 2 to go, she let Morton take over. That was what she wanted. She wanted to watch what Morton had. She wanted to be able to go from the back. So Vogel winding it up. And as they came round and got the bell, Vogel had it full gas. Morton was looking up. Vogel was looking down. She tempted her into the pole. And then, as easy as you like, the queen of the track just strolled past Stephanie Morton to the first ride. It looked all so easy for Christina Vogel winning the first race in the women's sprint. Now we went to the second ride for the bronze medal. Remember, Simona Krupskaita had won the first race. Xuan Gao had a lot of work to do. So Krupskaita, as they came to the bell, looking over her shoulder. Gao out of a saddle and into the back straight. Here she goes. Krupskaita on the front. Xuan Gao coming around the outside. Krupskaita sprinting for the line, but Gao got it, and it was 1-all. One ride apiece. We were going for a third ride to decide the bronze medal. And now the second ride, and the ride for gold and silver. Stephanie Morton had the pole this time, with Christina Vogel on the outside. And the way Vogel had ridden the first race from the back, she did it again. Rode the second race from the back. She threatened Morton. Threatened to come around the outside, threatened to go underneath. She made Morton lead it out. So all she had to do was match the pace. And Christina Vogel virtually rode her own race in this one. They repeated exactly what happened in the first ride between them, but this time Vogel got in front earlier, and away she went to win the gold medal in Cambridge. Christina Vogel, queen of the track in the sprinters here at the Advantageous. It looked so easy. A rider in form. And must go into the London Olympics as favourite. Maybe Anna Mears, if she's fit, could challenge. I can't see anybody else getting anywhere near Christina Vogel. And so we come to the bronze medal ride. You'll notice the green dots, one ride apiece. Krupskaita the outside, Xuan Gao on the inside to decide the third place on the podium. Gao would have to lead it off. And the interesting thing about this was, in the first ride that Krupskaita won, she had looked so dominant. And yet, in the second ride, which Gao won, she had looked so dominant. It was a real toss-up about who was going to win this one. Rolling up to the fence. And Gao trying to get Krupskaita to come around her. Krupskaita says, oh, well, if that's what you want, that's what I'll do. So rolled under and rode up to the fence. Gao said, thank you, and let her go. So the pace came on. came around with 2 to go, and Krupskaita started to wind it up. The Lithuanian leading the way, about 10 metres between them. She's out of her saddle. Gal responded, and at the bell, Gal leaving a big gap. Krupskaita wound it up, and Gal up to her hip, up to her shoulder, and Krupskaita, did she go past her? No, Krupskaita fighting back and fighting furiously down the finishing straight, and Krupskaita won this one in a real gutsy ride to take the bronze medal. So it was in the medal ceremony, Vogel, Morton and Krupskaita, Australia in second, Lithuania third, but the winner, Christina Vogel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
You're continuously at the top of your game. How do you stay there?
Maybe it's that I ever want more and more and more. Yeah, maybe it's that, yeah.
Now to the men's omnium and the elimination race. And fun and games here as the boys sorted themselves out. One rider off each lap, or each second lap, I beg your pardon. And there were a few that pretended they didn't hear, but that light was flashing on the handlebars and it says, oh, damn. And Sazonov of Russia was eliminated on that occasion. Then it was the Swiss rider dangling dangerously, but he managed to nip around the outside. And it was the Uzbeki Shaikov, caught by surprise. Juan Arango was the next to go. Bit of switching going on mid-pack. Ignacio Prado of Mexico eliminated. He didn't like it. Took him a while to realize. Lassie Norman Hansen, the Olympic champion, rolling along at the front. Setting the pace, the Kiwi living dangerously here. And it was the New Zealander eliminated, Nick Gergezou. Of Switzerland called from the track. The Italian forcing the pace. It's at the back of the bunch that all the interest is focused as rider after rider is called from the track. And on this occasion, it was the Austrian, the Japanese rider, similar colours, Kuboki. And that bell, every time it sounded, they had to lift their effort again until there were just 2 riders left. Lassie Norman Hansen on the front, and on the back, a rider from Hong Kong. And also Tolinsky eliminated. This time, the Hong Kong rider, the last to cross the line. And they had to neutralize the race there for a moment to get the Polish rider off the track. And eventually he got the message. And so the the Hong Kong rider was able to stay on the track. So they were back in action again. The flag waved and away they went. There it is. So a rider had been cautioned. And at the end of this lap, who would it be? Nobody called off because the flag rule, the neutralization had applied. Some riders getting very high on the track, a bit of switching going on. The German taking up the Dane. And this time maybe it'll be the Hong Kong rider. Indeed it was. Chun Wing Leung. The German, Lucas Lies, living dangerously now at the back, but the Brit alongside of him. And the Italian, and it was indeed Batazzo who got the flashing light on his handlebars. So at the front at the moment, the Frenchman, and at the back, a bit of a squeeze on and a bit of a surprise too. It was the Olympic champion, Lasse Norman Hansen, being called from the track. At the back, the Ukrainian. And as they came to the finish line, it was Zakharov of Kazakhstan. The Kettler at the front, leading round the Brit, Chris Latham. And this time it was the Brazilian Monteiro. And again, the German, Lisa, living dangerously and finally called from the track. And down to 5. And the Korean on the inside and the Belgian on the outside. You call that one, Mr. Official, and he did. Park, Sang-hoon Park, eliminated. And we were down to 4 riders in this gut-buster of an event. It was the third of the 6 events for the Omnium. Coach calling his rider, come on, mate. Pascal Joulin from France at the front, and at the back it was the Aussie trying to nudge his way through. A bit of a touch of wheels, and eventually it resulted in disaster, but Glenn O'Shea came off very considerately clear of the track, and the race was able to carry on. So we had the Brit, the Frenchman, and the Belgian. And the sprint was on. There's 2 riders left on the track at the end. And Joulin from the Kettler. And that meant that Chris Latham was eliminated and classified 3rd in the event. And we came down to the final sprint with just the 2 riders. Kettler of Belgium, Joulin of France. And Pascal Joulin decided, this is going to be hard. But he came up to the shoulder of Kenny de Kettler, who said, oh no, you've got more? Okay, you can have it. And it was France, Belgium, and Great Britain, the first 3 after the elimination race. Thomas Boudard. So that was the points after 3 events. Chris Latham leading from Lassie Norman Hansen, Thomas Boudard, and de Kettler. Now the flying lap, the 5th of the 6 events, and the New Zealander Nick Kyrgyzou had a great ride here. He was up at the 50-meter mark, up at the 100-meter mark, and at the finish, a marvelous time of 12.829 seconds to be the first in the flying lap competition. And that lifted Nick Kyrgyzou up the order and took him up into 8th place in the competition at the end of that round. There was the result. Kyrgyzou from Park, O'Shea, Sutter, Lies, Veld and Latham. And to the final event of the men's Omnium, and that's the points race. And after all these events over 2 days, it all comes down to this. There's the points standings as they head into the 6th event. Lassie Norman Hansen at 166 from Chris Latham. Then Park, as we work our way down to Kettler, O'Shea, and then there's the second page. Tim Velt down in 14th. Pierre Roy in 17th. And Talinsky not completing the 4th race. So now we join the action. Gary Anderson, you've been paying attention to this with 99 laps to go. Who's been dominant?
Yes, John, there's been a bit of a mixture. Some of the early sprints won by riders that haven't made great inroads into the overall standings, but we've also seen the last couple of sprints, the Dane Hansen taking some points and extending his lead. We've had 6 of 16 sprints with just under 100 laps to go. The pressure's been on. Hansen's off the front again at the moment. He's pretty hungry. 6 laps to go to the next sprint.
Well, Hansen went away from track cycling, didn't he, after the Olympics, and took up a World Tour contract. And now he's back, wants to defend his title at Rio. And the way he's riding, he's every chance to do that, because look at this, he's well and truly off the front here in the points race. And could he take a lap on the field? That's the big question, all on his own. Are the others going to let him? What a dominant performance from Lassie Norman Hansen. Leads the overall with 166 points. Chris Latham's 159, the Brit, and then the Korean with 157, Song Park.
Hansen obviously gaining a lot of strength from riding at Pro Tour level, or the high international level on the road that he does. Coming back onto the track, put a bit of speed work on, and you're able to do what he's doing now, and that's getting out there and threatening to take a lap solo. If he does, that'll gain him 20 points and give him a really difficult lead to be overtaken in this competition.
So riding second at the moment is the Mexican Prado, Ignacio Prado, but he is a long way behind this man who's coming up to win this sprint. He's down the back straight. The chasers, it's the Canadian that's leading the charge from behind, and here comes Hansen across the start-finish line. He'll take the points.
Hansen adds another 5. Bunch clawing him back a wee bit.
There's a bit of a relaxation now as they sit up, and Hansen is getting ever so much closer to the back of the peloton. There's the peloton in the front straight. Hansen is just going into the northern banking at the other end of the track. Hansen 12 points ahead, 171 to 159. The Kettler is up into fourth now with 149. There's the result of the sprint. Hansen, Paite Roy, Palatia Roy.
Oh, Hansen's blown here.
He's tired, hasn't he? He's really tired.
2 or 3 laps ago, his head was starting to move, starting to shake. And it looks like he's hit the wall.
And Juan Arango of Colombia starting to find some form. And it's Arango that has taken over the lead. The Colombian, the man that showed so much promise heading into the Olympics and failed to deliver, and now looking around to see if he's got some company, someone can give him a hand. Has Hansen got anything in reserve to come and join him? And there's 2 more riders coming across to join them, and those 2 are the Brit, Latham, and with him the Australian, O'Shea. So Chris Latham and Glenn O'Shea trying to get across.
Well, I thought Hansen was gone full money there for a second, but he's dug in. What a gutsy guy. And he's stuck it out. He's still at the front. Now this is going to be a group of 4. And really, they're still half a lap ahead of the main field, so still threatening to take that lap.
So as Juan Arango and Lassie Norman Hansen start to tire, they have fresh legs with them, Chris Latham and Glenn O'Shea. Arango realised they were there, swung up and let them have it. But he'll be hoping that Lassie Norman Hansen can stay on that wheel of Glenn O'Shea. Don't want any little gaps to appear. They want to keep this tidy in team pursuit formation to take that lap, and they're looking pretty good to do it, because there's the peloton, and they've only just started to realise the danger and picked it up. The Kettler of Belgium, the next to go. Bell rings, another sprint. This will be the 80 to go sprint.
No points for the rest of the field in this one. All points for the sprint lap are going to be taken by the breakaway group. So really, anyone in the main field that wants to be in contention going to have to get on with the job pretty smartly.
Now, they don't sprint for the points as such. They just roll across the line and they let the Englishman Latham have them. Hansen quite happy to have the second place points. O'Shea will take second. 80 laps to go.
Hansen be quite happy to roll with this group. They're doing him a great favour. He doesn't need the points. He's got a pretty good lead, well ahead of anybody else that's in that group. O'Shea's probably the closest.
So you can see them in picture now. Latham, O'Shea, Hansen and Arango. That's the way they finished that last sprint. And they're not trying to panic about this. They're just keeping that pace going. It's looking pretty good.
Going to take the lap, John.
Yeah, the way they're going, the way the peloton is set up, they are going to get a lap for these 4. And the crowd acknowledge the performance And the dynamic of the race has changed. At the front, Thomas Bardet, but here's Lassie Norman Hansen. Sitting up, breathing deeply, as is Juan Arango. Glenn O'Shea in there as well. Now at the front, it's the Brazilian Monteiro and Thomas Boudard of France. And behind them, Mick Kyrgyzou of New Zealand.
So classic points race sort of a move as soon as the guys have taken a lap, when they're really tired and they're looking for a breather, attack off the front if you want to take a lap yourself. Not really a full-on effort there by the Frenchman, just more of a extension of pace really. But here we go.
Now, here comes an effort. The Russian and the Austrian, is it? Or is it the Japanese rider? Japanese rider. So Japan and Russia at the front. And the Russian is Sazonov. And the Japanese rider is Kuboki. And coming across to join them is the Mexican. That's Prado. So we have a group of 3 at the front now. Prado joining Kuboki and Sazonov. They will get the bell. Will they be able to hang on and take these points? I don't think Hansen will be too worried about this, nor Latham, because the blokes that are out the front, off the front, have no bearing in the overall classification. So they'll be quite happy for them to steal the points. And rolling through to get the last 1 point, it will be the Kazakh, and that's Zakharov. Kuboki, Prado, Sazonov and Zakharov as they went across the line.
That lap that was taken on the field really put some pressure on Park and Keirin from Belgium. They kind of missed out a little bit by that. 20 points gained. Just popped them back into 4th and 5th place. Now really De Ketelaer's probably going to have to look at taking a lap himself to jump back up into the medals.
So 3 riders off the front from Russia, Japan and Kazakhstan. And now Boudard and the Canadian Roy going on the charge, trying to get them back. They don't look like taking a lap. They're just rolling along on their own out the front, enjoying an even pace, which is good for them. Takes the stress off them. So 7 sprints remaining, 35 points on offer, the maximum. Hansen would have a podium guaranteed with his 193 to Latham's 184 and O'Shea's 165. Suter, Hansen at the front of the peloton, and they're leaving those front 3 dangling out there. Oh, they're down to 2 now. Kuboki and the Kazakh Zakharov.
Still an opportunity for laps to be gained, but really only perhaps affecting the minor medals at the moment. Even if one of the 2nd or 3rd place getters were to gain a lap, they, well, Chris Latham from Great Britain would jump into the lead, but Hansen too experienced, I think, to let him go anywhere. He'll be keeping a close eye on him.
So 2 laps to the next sprint. 62 to go now. And Roy has joined them from Canada. So we have 3 at the front again, but right behind them, here comes the peloton. The bell rings. They'll be lucky to get any points, these 3, because the peloton is coming pretty hard. And leading the charge is Suter and Kyrgyzou. Suter from Switzerland, Kyrgyzou from New Zealand. Roy is under threat now. They've gone past the Kazakh, and a couple of points for the Kiwis. That'll be close, the front 2. Suter or the Canadian. And Kyrgyzstan decides, well, we may as well have a go. I'm out front here. We'll see what happens. And then thinks better of it and swings up. Nobody else is interested in taking the lead. And there's a general move to the top of the track. Kaboki, Prado, Sasanov, that was the last one. And this sprint that we've just had, Sutta, Peltier, Wa, Kyrgyzstan and Zakharov. Those are the points. There we go. Confirmed. Now Monteiro of Brazil has decided to go. So rider number 7 off on his own. There's the overall classification. Hansen, Latham, O'Shea and Park. Look at the split in the points. The reasonable amount between all 4. Hansen looking comfortable, looking very weary of what's going on around him. He's got a podium. Which position on the podium has he got? Monteiro, well out of contention. He's down in 13th place overall. So nobody's too concerned about him. They're quite happy to let him go. Sutta of Switzerland had a bit of an effort and has swung up, leaving this fella all on his own out the front. Sutta. That's the next rider you'll see. Look at the gap.
Here goes the Belgian.
Oh, the kettle up has jumped out of the peloton and is chasing after him, and that sparked everybody into interest. There he goes. There they are. So Monteiro across the start-finish line with 54 to go. Here comes De Kettler, Kenny De Kettler. Looking good on top of the bars, looking comfortable. And everybody behind him says, uh-oh, this guy's good. We can't let this happen. So Glenn O'Shea leads the charge to try and bring him back. And on Glenn O'Shea's wheel is Thomas Boudard and then Chris Latham. Latham swings up and hands it over to the German. That's Lucas Lees. Everybody shuffling in behind. Monteiro swings up. O'Shea says, yep, I'm swinging up too.
Well, O'Shea didn't want to let the Belgian get away.
No.
Latham didn't want to get O'Shea get away. So they've all chased each other down and it's been neutralised.
2 laps to the sprint. Commissaire's got the bell in his hand. And it tolls for the big sprint. And it's, well, you wouldn't believe it. It's Lasse Norman Hansen at the front, all on his own, making a charge to the line. And here comes Latham. Latham is challenging, but Lasse Norman Hansen has got plenty left in the tank. Up to the line. Hansen, Latham, and it was the Italian across in 3rd place, Battazzo. Hansen, Latham, Battazzo and Boudard. Those are the first 4 that will get the points. There it is, confirmed. Sprint 11 of 16.
Hansen's obviously in really good form, isn't he? He's leading the race, but he's out there dominating this as well. Leading the race overall after 5 of the 6 events and really stamping his authority in this points race.
Yes, when we see the overall points situation, you'll see that Hansen now almost secure for the gold medal, almost, at 198 to Latham's 187. But anything is still possible at this end of the sport. So from Japan, Kaboki, and from Kazakhstan joining him, Zakharov, then O'Shea, and then the Korean Park, who remember is in 4th place overall.
We saw Hansen earlier in the flying lap, not having his best event, putting in a solid one, but losing it out on a few points. But here he's dominant, isn't he? This event far more suited to him.
Yeah, the points race and the scratch race seem to be his events, and also a bit of pursuiting as well. He's always consistent in the pursuit. And here he comes across to the front 4. So he seems to make a huge effort, then drops back and relaxes a bit, and then boom, another big effort. Kaboki at the front. Zakharov takes over the lead now. And behind them, Glenn O'Shea for Australia. Then Park for Korea. Then Lasse Norman Hansen. Kaboki at the back now. As Zakharov swings up, and here come another 3 riders to join them.
Latham chasing down the gap, not letting those 2 guys, Henson and O'Shea, get too far away.
Zakharov is keen to do something. He's down there on the pole, and he wants someone to come with him. Kaboki is pretty keen. So these 2 trying again. Kaboki does a little turn, but realizes it's hopeless because here's the whole peloton coming up behind him. Doesn't need to work in this situation. The bell, Hansen on the outside, Sutter of Switzerland on the inside. And look at this, Lasse Norman Hansen again. Down the back straight. And it's the rider from Mexico going after him, Prado. So Hansen, what a performance. Prado in second. 3rd place across the line will be Sutter, and then the Netherlands rider. That's Tim Veld. There's the result. Hansen, Prado, Sutter and Veld.
Well, there's some riders in here that have just got nothing left, but that's Norman Hansen. He's on fire.
So he's out the front again. There he is, rolling along, 38 laps to go. Has 203 points now to Latham's 187 and O'Shea's 165. Park, O'Shea and Hansen. .37 laps to go. Now it's Chris Latham of the UK, is it? At the front? No, it's the German, Lucas Lees. Decides he'll have a crack. Gets on top of the bars, gets into a rhythm. And no one too keen to chase him down. They're all rolling up to the top of the banking. No one's taking big turns at the front. Time to go to the top of the banking again. We'll let Lucas Lees ride off on his own.
If Lees was to take a lap here and gain 20 points, it would sneak him up into 4th place.
Well, look at this, because coming up to join him in no man's land at the moment, it's Juan Arango of Colombia. And Arango goes swooping past the German. The German's got no answer. So Juan Arango again. Every now and then he shows what a class bike rider he is, and this could be one of those occasions. But overall, the man from Colombia is down in 9th place with 126 points. Remember, Hansen has 203 right now.
And O'Shea's attacked out of the bunch.
So there he is, Juan Arango, rolling across the line. Bell for him next time. Hansen, Kyrgyzstan and Park. Kettler, Montero. That's the order in that group. But it's this fella that leads the way. He gets the bell. He'll probably hang on and take the 5 points. And overall, it'll still be 9th place for him. But it'll give him a lot of satisfaction. Lasse Norman Hansen is leading the peloton. They're not in shot yet. They're a long way back. There they are. So Arango will get those points, get 5, and the sprint for second. The Kettler and Kyrgyzstan. No, it was Hansen and Kyrgyzstan and Park. Wait till they confirm it. That was sprint number 13. Arango, Kyrgyzstan, Hansen and the Kettler. Yeah, so that's the way they cross the line.
These minor placings being reasonably keenly fought out because, of course, there's qualification points for the World Championships. So everybody keen to ensure that they've got a spot come the London Worlds later in the year. Rio on everybody's mind.
The big prize. So with one rider per country, this man's got his name stamped on the entry list for Denmark already. Wants to defend that title. Montero of Brazil swings up, and now it is the rider from the Netherlands, Tim Veld, who rolls through. Gets 26 laps to go. Behind him, Zakharov of Kazakhstan swings up, then Bardet of France, Sutter of Switzerland, and the Italian. And now another rider jumping out of the peloton, chasing after Tim Veld. There he is at the middle of the back straight now, making great progress. And we're looking at Kaboki of Japan. He's been very active in this. Kaboki and Veld now. De Ketteler is leading the peloton from Montero. 24 laps to go. 23 this time.
Kettler still thinking about the opportunity of sneaking a lap late in the race. Very experienced Belgian rider, rides the 6 days, rides track races all over the world. He knows how to take a lap in a short space of time and still be in the hunt for a bronze medal.
22 to go. These two are off the front. They're getting the bell. They will probably take the points. But chasing them down, we've got the American, and Bardet swoops around the outside of the American. So Kaboki will take the 5, Veld will take the 3, 2 points to Bardet, and then it'll be the American with the 1 point. That's Düring. Confirmed. Kaboki, Veld, Boudard, and Düring. 14 out of 16 sprints, so 2 sprints to go. The one at 10 laps to go, and the one at the finish. So coming down to decision time, overall, Hansen has 205 points, Latham 187, O'Shea 165, and Park 157.
Hansen just shadowing Latham. Not going to let him go anywhere. He's the only one that can really threaten Hansen, barring any mishap.
They've ridden a pursuit, flying lap, kilometre time trial. They've ridden a scratch race, an elimination race, and now they round it all off with this, the points race. All raced over 2 days. Cycling's event of the decathlon. Answer to the decathlon, I should say. Montero for Brazil. Zakharov for the Ukraine. Bardet. Boudard, I should say, of France. Riders swinging up all over the place. Sutter of Switzerland, the next one to decide he doesn't want to take the lead. So the Italian swings up as well, and it's left to the Russian to do it. Sazonov, and Sazonov decides to take off all on his own. It doesn't get too far away. Boudard, sorry, leads the peloton and swings up as well. Hansen there. 3 laps to go till the next sprint. They fan across the track, the peloton, as they look at this man up the road. Waiting for the fun to begin back there when they get 2 laps to go to the sprint. Montero it is that opens it up. They spread out around the track. Montero chasing down the leader on the track. Sabanov of Russia. Montero Buda coming around him and hunting down the Russian, and Buda looking good, and De Ketelaar around the outside of them as well. As they come down to the line, it's going to be De Ketelaar just on the line. That'll do his point standing good. And might move him a little bit closer to Park in 4th place. So just one more sprint remaining. Here's the result of that sprint. De Ketelaar, Buda, Butazzo of Italy, and Monteiro of Brazil. So with one sprint to go, there's Juan Arango having another crack.
De Ketelaar can sneak himself up into 4th place if he gets some points in the last sprint, and Park doesn't.
There's the point situation, Gary. Hansen with 205, Latham 187, O'Shea 165, and Park 157. De Ketelaar now 155. So the top 3, I would say, are just about sorted with one sprint to go. 4th and 5th will be a toss-up with De Ketelaar and Park all looking for points. So everybody's keen now. Juan Arango's away on his own. They're hunting him down big time, and you wouldn't read about it, but the man that's chasing him down is Lasse Norman Hansen. There he is in the red jersey with the white stripes, and on his wheel is Kabuki of Japan. And Arango says, enough, I'll let these guys take over. And so Lasse Norman Hansen has got the pressure on. Kabuki says, I've got the good wheel, I'm not going to give this up for the world. And then it's Zakharov of Kazakhstan and Latham of Great Britain, Park and the American down the back straight, and with 4 to go, Lasse Norman Hansen, Kabuki of Japan. They're looking pretty good. Can he finish this off in style, Lasse Norman Hansen? If Kabuki was a gentleman, he'd let him win it. But it's not about being gentlemanly at this level. It's all about winning, and it's all about looking ahead to Rio. Lasse Norman Hansen is making a real statement here of intent, that he is the #1 Omnium rider in the world. It's 2 laps to go this time for these 2 riders, and the rest spread out around the track. Meanwhile, these guys are away. They will contest the sprint between them. Here's the bell. Kabuki will take the bell. Lasse Norman Hansen, his head's bobbling around. He may be happy to settle for second. He may have to settle for second as the charge is coming behind him. And it's, of course, Chris Latham and Pelletau of Canada. And the Canadian is coming up into 3rd. But Kabuki will win the last sprint. Lasse Norman Hansen will win overall and take 2nd points on the line. And 3rd place will go to the Canadian from Latham from the American. And Lasse Norman Hansen, what a dominant performance here in Cambridge.
Well, stamping his authority. I'm on the way to Rio, he says. Defending Olympic champion in the Omnium here in New Zealand. Sometimes when you race, John, your legs are good, you feel great. And he didn't have to, but he just went out there and smashed it.
What a fantastic ride. That is a real dominant performance. And on a cycling point of view, from cycling fans' point of view, that is one of the great rides we've seen here in New Zealand. So, so good. The man is class. Lasse Norman Hansen winning the points race and winning the Omnium. .208 points to 188 and 165 for O'Shea. Park 157. De Ketelaar just dipped out on that 4th place with 155. Then Buda. Kyrgyzou got up to 7th place. Good for him. Lisa in 8th. And then it's Arango, Batazzo, Suter, Zakharov, Monteiro, Kabuki, Velt, and Pelletau. Luang, Sassanov, Prado, During, Shakarov. They were the finishers in the men's Omnium. 21 riders out of 24 finishing. And big congratulations for this machine in the back straight. Finally, we get a smile. Well, sort of a smile, more of a grimace. Juan Arango congratulating him. There's the second place man, Chris Latham. There's nothing you can do about that class of that man. No, don't worry, the British Institute will be polishing him up before we get to the World Champs in London. It'll be another test. So he gets on his road bike and he'll warm down. And we are going to now turn our attention to sprinting. Men's sprint finals. So this is the second ride off for the bronze medal. Remember that Max Levy there in the colourful shorts is one up over Eddie Dawkins of New Zealand. Levy winning the first one. I don't know if Dawkins has will have any answer in this one. I think this is on paper anyway, and from what we've seen, this is going to be Levy's.
Well, love to see Dawkins take it, force a deciding ride. I think he's going to have to lead it out. Last time, Levy hit the front. Dawkins didn't have an answer for it. So perhaps this time, Dawkins needs to try and lead it out. Of course, Max Levy will know that, and he'll probably try and ride it from the front. Worked for him last time.
So Levy looking over his shoulder, waiting to see some action coming from Eddie Dawkins. Crowd getting him behind the local man from the southernmost province of New Zealand, Eddie Dawkins. Swings down and underneath Max Levy. The crowd love that. Levy's not too concerned. He rolls up back onto the wheel. Once Eddie Dawkins got this time, feints to go down. Levy's not buying it. He rolls down, 2 laps to go. Dawkins puts his head down. Again, looking under his shoulder. Here comes the bell, 1 lap to go. Eddie Dawkins inside, Max Levy outside. They hit the 200-metre line and head down the back straight. They're committed to their sprint. Eddie Dawkins, can he hang on here? Because here comes the German machine. Max Levy around the outside. Max Levy the outside, and it's Dawkins hangs on. Oh, great. We get our wish. We go to 3.
Well, that was it. He had to lead him out. He did it, and he won it. Forced that deciding ride. It's going to be best of 3 for the bronze medal.
Listen to the crowd. Well, here it is here. He accepted the invitation to lead. And at the line, the throw to the line, and Levy just didn't have enough, and Eddie Dawkins was able to hang on. Good sprinting, boys. Love it. And now let's have a look at the photo and see how close it was. And what would you say? That'd be about a rim. A big, deep rim.
Well, that third ride's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because they both won from the front. They knew they both wanted the front. So in the third ride, they're both going to want the front.
Time to bring out the Go Eddie sign. Good stuff. All right, Eddie Dawkins forces a third ride. And what will happen here? We've got Gleitzer versus Niederlag, Australia versus Germany. And already Gleitzer is 1 up in this best of 3 series. Max Niederlag, settling himself down on the bars. And the customary stare down from Gleitzer. He must take the lead if he's on pole, unless he is relieved of that lead, and he must maintain a walking pace. So he has to look over his shoulder at the man behind him, Matthew Gleitzer from Australia, riding for the Jayco team here. Now, Gleitzer, all concentration. Niederlag looking at the back of the front wheel of Gleitzer. That's where the movement will come from, if there's any movement at all. And now he focuses on the man himself. Where's he going? He's going up. He's coming down again. It's all right. I'm okay here. So Niederlag lays off a little bit. Gleitzer trying to invite him to attack. Come around and get the bell, and Niederlag looks as if he's going down, but Gleitzer shuts the door on him, and they hit the line, and it's Niederlag on the outside, Gleitzer on the inside. They're shoulder to shoulder down the back straight. Gleitzer the inside, Niederlag the outside. Gleitzer's got the advantage. He's got the short way round, and he's done it. Niederlag gave it away. Congratulations between the coaches. That's a gold medal for Australia. Matthew Gleitzer. And the silver will go to the German, Max Niederlag.
Well, we're just seeing Niederlag here. He hit him hard at the bell. The Gleitzer stuck to his guns. He knew he had the shorter way. It was all on down the back straight, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. But Niederlag just didn't have enough. Gleitzer, the shortest way home is the fastest way. And in the end, he had it sussed.
So the gold medal and the World Cup points for Matthew Gleitzer. Starting to be the next star of Australian men's sprinting. Let's go to the women's team sprint. This was a ride for the bronze medal between the Netherlands and Germany. Alice Leakley and Lorien van Rijssen. And across the other side of the track, Miriam Velter and Emma Heinz. There's Miriam Velter going through her routine. Alice Leakley on the outside, the big Dutch rider, stand over 2 meters tall. Miriam Velter leading away for Germany from Heinze. And Miriam Velter appears to have too much power for her teammate, leaving a big gap. So Heinze takes over. Leakley takes over for the Netherlands. And they come down to the line, and we look at the split, and it's the Netherlands that won the bronze medal. Leakley and Van Rijssen in 33.433, Heinze and Velter in 34.263. A little bit of a disorganisation in the German team there at the start, but the Dutch team seemed to have it right. Literally so much power, such a big unit, so much taller than Van Rijssen, and rolling to the gold medal. And the ride now for the gold medal, indeed. That was the bronze medal ride, I beg your pardon. So the gold medal ride between China, Taishan Zhong and Jinji Gong. Zhong leading off, Gong to bring it home. And for Australia, kind of a new combination, although they've ridden together many times. No Anna Mears, Carly McCulloch and Stephanie Morton. Zhong waiting patiently. There's Carly McCulloch also. Stephanie Morton there on the outside. And away they go, starting their 2-lap journey of the Advantageous here in Cambridge in this women's team sprint final for the gold medal. McCulloch leading away Morton, and Zhong leading away Gong. And it was the Chinese team up slightly at the start, at the end of the first lap. Morton bringing it home, Gong bringing it home for China. And at the line, it was China by half a second. So China gold, Australia silver. And the bronze medal to the Netherlands. 32.682 the winning time.
I didn't think we should change anything.
There they are. Zhong handing over to Gong, and the Chinese taking the World Cup jerseys.
Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
So to the men's team pursuit, and the bronze medal right there, Netherlands versus Germany. The Dutch team, Valkenboom, Storringa, Efting and Van Chip. And their opponents, Max Bayer, Theo Reinhardt, Leif Lamputter and Kirsten Thiele. Germany versus Netherlands, the two neighbours, all the way down the other side of the world to ride for the bronze medal in the men's team pursuit. And let's have a false start to start, shall we? As one of the riders went far too early, seemed to indicate to the man that was holding him that it was his fault, but we ain't buying that. He just mistimed his lunge. Got a bit excited and had to be calmed down. Let's take it easy, mate. Get back into it, focus, and let's do it all again. We've got this. Jo Kiesanowski, the young woman there, a three-time Olympian, rode at the London Olympic Games, is retired from track cycling now and helping out in an official capacity here at Cambridge. In charge of the starting gate as the Germans get back into the gate. So the tyres were checked for debris. The crowd settled down again, and we got the riders in their starting gates one more time. So we were ready to do it again sometime later. Riding for the bronze medal, Germany versus the Netherlands. So to the countdown to send them on their 4,000-metre journey. So you can see the splits as they came through in the early stages of the ride. The Netherlands looking very tidy, as were the Germans, maintaining their position. Not much in it at all, really, was there? Just 3/10 of a second at this stage. At the 1,500-metre mark, still that little gap. As the two sides went at it for the bronze medal. Both teams working new combinations. Germans down by half a second at that stage. And at the half distance mark, they're down by 1/10 of a second. So starting to get back into it, Germany, as the Netherlands go down to 3 riders. The Germans still with 4. And now it's the Netherlands behind as Germany get back into it. So the loss of 3 riders seems to have affected the Netherlands team. And 2.5K mark, they're down by 6/10. The Germans now down to 3. Germany going away. And now 7/10. Still Germany holding sway over the Dutch. And the crowd starting to get behind them because it's very close. Very close indeed. As the bell rang, not a lot in it, just 8/10 of a second. Could the Dutch climb back into it as the Germans finished it off? Half a lap to go. as they spread across the track, and not a lot in it, just 0.3 of a second. And it was Germany, the bronze medal. 4:02.517 against a 4:02.913. So to the men's team pursuit gold medal ride. The world champions New Zealand. Team of Cam Kowalski in the black jersey. The others in world champions jerseys: Peter Bulling, Regan Goff and Alex Frame. Against the Australians, Jack Bobridge, Alex Edmondson, Luke Davison and Michael Hepburn. Team that shows a lot of promise, this Australian lineup. Former world record holder in the individual pursuit, Jack Bobridge, in there to strengthen them up, and has just signed a new contract on the road. The Kiwis, world champions. And it was very intense at the end of the first lap. Australia were down just a little bit. Kyrgyzstan at the front for New Zealand at the 500-metre mark, reeling off these smooth laps. Michael Hepburn brought back into the squad along with Jack Bobridge, two riders off the road program, off the world tour, decided they want an Olympic medal and have put their hand up to be selected, and are making every post a winner. And the New Zealanders now down by 1/10 of a second. The 1500-metre mark, New Zealand down by 0.6. .2 seconds, Australia over New Zealand. Now the Aussies down to 3. Bobridge, Hepburn and Edmondson. Kyrgyzstan, I beg your pardon, Kowalski swings up for New Zealand. And they're down to 3. Leading by 1.9 seconds, Australia. And the crowd getting very, very excited, trying to encourage the New Zealanders down to the finish. The next lap was for the 3,000-metre marker. One, 2.5 seconds now, Australia. The world champions, New Zealand, really having their work cut out to keep up with this one. The Australians turning into a machine. Hepburn, Edmondson and Bobridge against Bulling, Frame and Goff. So 2 laps to go, and the gap now 3 seconds. And this was going to be an impressive time recorded by Australia. The world record's a 3:51 set at the London Olympics by Great Britain. Have a look at this. 3:53.010. 3:53. The fastest time recorded in New Zealand ever, and the fastest time ever by an Australian pursuit combination. 3 minutes, 53 seconds for 4,000 metres. An incredible performance by Australia to win the gold medal. New Zealand's time also respectable, more than respectable, 3:57.612. So at the moment, the Australians looking the best of good things as they go ahead to the Hong Kong World Cup round and to the World Championships at London. Smooth style of the Australian team. Down to the line with a 3:53. Jack Bobridge there. Full of congratulations, everyone. Number 1, Edmondson there.
Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
Time you guys, the majority of your team have been together since London. I mean, you've got to be pretty happy with that performance.
Very, very happy.
So what's going to go, are you guys going to stick together heading into Rio?
Yeah, well, that's the plan now. This is a big step in the road. So we've got a few things between here and there, and some of us are on the road, some of us will stay and we'll go to the World Championships, and then it's the real build-up, and it's on to hopefully Rio.
And here we are back at Cambridge for the men's omnium, and it's the victory ceremony. And see our mate Lassie Norman Hansen. Here's our presenter for the podium, Rick Fulcher.
Ceremony for the UCI Track Cycling World Cup Cambridge men's omnium. The medals in UCI will be presented by Life Member and Board Member of Cycling New Zealand and recipient of the UCI Merit Award, Graham Sycamore. Winner of the bronze medal, representing Australia, Glenn O'Shea. Winner of the silver medal, representing Great Britain, Chris Latham. UCI Track Cycling World Cup Men's Omnium Gold Medalist representing Denmark, Lotte Hansen. The gifts now being presented by Vice-Chancellor, University of Waikato, Professor Neil Quigley. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Denmark. Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
Congratulations, Lasse. You totally dominated that race. How do you plan to keep that form leading into the Olympics next year?
I don't keep on keeping the form up from now until then. I have a small dip and then good program up until the Olympics. So happy with my form right now, and if I can keep on building, I'm very happy.
I have to ask, who do you think is your biggest threat?
It's hard to say. I haven't raced against all the big guns yet, but obviously Viviani, Chris Latham, Glenn O'Shea, the guys you already know, the guys you see up in top of the leaderboards, those guys you have to watch. But yeah, let's see. In the end, it's always the best guys who win.
Now, I know you must be exhausted, so you don't want to think about this now, but what is next on your schedule?
Actually, next on my schedule is 2 weeks off. Like, I have 2 weeks, almost no bike, and more of a gym season now in December, and then, yeah, back on the bike.
Back on the bike, of course. Well done.
Thank you.
And there we have Max Levy warming up or warming down, as the case may be. He's got to come out and face Eddie Dawkins a little while later. As we look ahead to the men's Kieran 7th to 12th race, Canelon, Kellerman, Wakimoto, Webster, Maxwell and Vinokurov, who faced off in the race for 7th to 12th in the men's Kieran. And there they are, Harsoni, Canelon, Sam Webster from Japan, Wakimoto from Poland, Krzysztof Maxwell, from the Ukraine, it's Vinokurov, Andrei Vinokurov, and the European Kieran champion, Pavel Kellerman, racing for 7th to 12th. Sam Webster has the crowd behind him for this one. The moto joins the scene, and the riders slot down behind it. And Sam Webster, well, looked as if he wanted it, but Kellerman from the Czech Republic had taken that spot. So Webster, let me in somebody, he said, but nobody was going to let him in, and he had to go to the back. So it was Kellerman who led them around, from Maxwell, Vinokurov, Canelon, Wakimoto and Webster. All sitting in echelon in the 7th to 12th race. A seeding round. The motorbike or the electric moto heading for the infield. And away we went. Webster went first on the outside. Kellerman came in behind him. Then it was Maxwell, Canelon, and from the back Vinokurov. Webster holding sway as they came down to the bell. Sam Webster and Vinokurov pushing his way through into second place, but Camel wasn't going to have that. So the Czech rider on the outside of Sam Webster. Pavel down the outside and hangs on and takes 7th place. Vinokurov was 7th. And a very, very good finish. Webster went first, managed to hang on. But the man that came over the top of him was the Czech, Pavel Camel. So Baranowski from the United States. Max Levy of Germany. Joachim Eilers of Germany. Oh, and look, another German, Eric Engler. So 3 Germans in the final for 1st through to 6th. Nikita Shershin of Russia and Jason Kenny of Great Britain. So this was the race for gold, silver and bronze. Max Levy there in shot. Baranowski of the United States on the outside. Eilers next to him. And away we go. Wakimoto wanted to jump down. I beg your pardon, it was Engers. Well, eventually they got themselves sorted out. Baranowski second last wheel. In front of him, Max Levy. Then Eilers. In front of him, Shershin. And on the moto was Jason Kenny of Great Britain, the Olympic sprint champion, former world sprint champion. Nicely sorted out in order as the moto took them around. Kenny very comfortable on that moto wheel as the moto was taken up a gear and the speed was built. Engers at the back. Baranowski in front of him, Levy in front of him, Eilers in front of him in the white. Shershin of Russia and Jason Kenny. A lot of talent in this one. This was for the gold medal. Everybody pretty relaxed about it. So the moto getting ready to come off the track. Jason Kenny at the front and the first man to move. Enger at the back, right round to the front. Baranowski looking to get there too, but wasn't able to do it. Now Jason Kenny fighting back on the outside. They came around to get the bell. Shershin outside of Kenny, looking for one of the Germans. Shershin fighting Kenny at the front. And Eilers around the outside. Joachim Eilers in the white, the World Cup leader, down to the line. Eilers and Levy very close between them. The 2 Germans at the front. In replay, we can see how close it was. Joachim Eilers, Max Levy, and the 3rd place. It was close, and it was on the outside. Joachim Eilers acknowledging the crowd. Great ride.
This track is really good, really great. We have in Germany nearly the same, so we have a good preparation at home. But I don't know why we are so strong. We like the country. It's really beautiful, and maybe it's make us happy to be powerful here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
Eilers, Levy and Baranowski in the Kieran final for men here at Cambridge. Women's Kieran final time now, and a great lineup we've got for you too. Surprised though, Christina Vogel not making it through to the final for gold, silver and bronze. So this is how they'll line up in the final. Tainshi Zhong, Tanya Calvo, Virginia Quaife, Christina Vogel, Ryson and Hansen. They ride for 7th through to 12th. And then we'll see for big race, Monique Sullivan, Waisei Lee, Anna Mears, Asian Lee, Xuan Gao and Lyubov Basova. Drawing for their position on the track. Natasha Hansen there in the middle for New Zealand. Outside of her is Calvo, Tanya Calvo of Spain. The big screen. They're all sitting in line.
It used to just be a card, didn't it, John? They turned over the card and that was their number.
Oh, but we're high tech now, so we need a tablet.
Really stepping up.
Actually, the reason they did that, had them sitting on chairs like that, was because you could never find the riders to get them out on the track, could you? They'd muck around, they'd be hiding in their pits and having all sorts of excuses, and the commissaires would be screaming at them to get out on the track.
Yeah, I guess they kind of try to keep the program running to time. Get everybody there early and ready to go. Sort of interesting to watch them too sometimes. Not wanting to look each other in the eye, really, as they wait for their start.
Okay, here they come out onto the track, and it'll be the Chinese competitor, Tianqi Zhong, who'll take pole. And Virginia Quaife coming out on the outside.
Former world individual sprint champion, the French coach. Anthony Peden, the New Zealand coach, former medalist in the Kieran at the World Championship, so tons of experience being passed down to these riders.
So Hansen and Quaife. Next rider is Christina Vogel. Tania Calvo, Spain. Loreen van Ryssen, who we saw in the team sprint finals. And for China, Tainshi Zhong. So there's the lineup. They're racing for 7 through 12. It's a seeding race. And a surprise to see Christina Vogel in here. That's the way it worked out. She's got a vicious hook in the semi-finals. And Natasha Hansen is determined this time. She drops down, but she's not forced the issue. And so Zhong of China has taken the bike. It seemed a little bit timid there, Gary.
Yeah, they have to be careful. They're not allowed to pass the back of the motorbike or the pace bike before it pulls off the track at 2.5 laps to go. If they do pass, then they'll be DQ'd.
So here's our first rider, number 108, representing China, Tainshi Zhong. And sitting behind her, 175, Christina Vogel. She'll want to win this. She doesn't want to finish any further back than 7th. All those World Cup points qualifying points for the world champs. Next rider is the rider from the Netherlands, Van Rijssen, Loreen Van Rijssen. And then Tania Calvo from Spain. 146 from France, Virginie Quaife. And at the back, the Kiwi, Natasha Hansen. Stand by if Hansen starts to move first when the bike goes off for the crowd to start stamping their feet and getting into the action. So Hansen, as a commissaire on the end of the front straight, looks on. Sitting on the back. Zhong on the front. Then Vogel, Van Rijssen. So here goes the bike onto the infield. They'll come around and get 2 to go, and Hansen it is. It comes down the outside, makes the move up to Vogel, cuts in front of Vogel, drops down onto the pole. Now the crowd are interested in the contest. Hansen, Vogel, Van Rijssen on the outside. Vogel gets out of a saddle as they come around to the bell. Hansen trying to hold her up. Vogel goes to the front. Hansen has the pole behind her. Van Rijssen's coming around too. Here comes Quaife and Zhong and Calvo. Down the back straight for the last time. And it is the queen of the track. It's going to be Christina Vogel. Just. She'll hang on. She'll take 7th place. And she'll take 7th place ahead of Tainxi Zhong. So Vogel, Zhong, and close look at 3rd, Calvo, Van Rijssen, Quaife and Hansen. Well, here was the first move, and that was Natasha's move down the back straight.
Yep, she played her cards early. Perhaps not 100% confident of fighting it out, so she hit out early, but the strength of Vogel moved over the top, and she was superior there, wasn't she?
Indeed she was. 7th place overall. Had to get out of the saddle and give it a little lunge because she felt Zhong coming up. And in 3rd place was Calvo. Confirming 7th place overall, Christina Vogel, then Tainxi Zhong. Tania Calvo will take 9th ahead of Loreen Van Rijssen, Virginie Quaife and Natasha Hansen. Big round of applause from the crowd in here at the Avanti drone for our winner. And now the draw being made, and there is Lyubova Basova of the Ukraine, Xuan Gao of China. She'll draw 2. I made that one out. Monique Sullivan of Canada, trying to get her glove to register. Might have to take the glove. Oh no, she's got one. No trouble here for Anna Mears. And she'll go to 4. Aishin Lee will go to 3. Aishin Lee, and our competitor from Hong Kong will be on the outside, Waisei Lee. There you go. That's how it's done. And a surprise. You always get a surprise somewhere, and it's Lyubova Basova of the Ukraine. Very good performance. Didn't expect her to see in the final, but here she is. Xuan Gao has a lot of work to do here. Tipped out in the ride-off for the bronze in the women's sprint. And here is the world champion, Anna Mears. Been around a long time. Originally from Rockhampton, now in South Australia. Great ambassador for the sport. Here she comes up onto the track. Has to go into the event as favourite. And Waisei Lee, the bronze medalist from the London Olympics. So Waisei Lee on the outside. Hong Kong. Then Lyubov Basova of the Ukraine. World champion Anna Mears taking the time to wish as well. Haejin Lee of Korea. Chuan Gao of China. Inside of her will be Monique Sullivan of Canada.
Another former Olympic medalist as a coach there, Kieran Hartwell from the USA, but coaching Canada.
So the moto makes his way from the back straight. And we will be on our journey. Who will win the gold medal out of this lot? Anna Mears must go in as favourite. The fight for the wheel, Monique Sullivan will win it. Then Xuan Gao, Haejin Lee, Anna Mears, and it looks like Waisei Lee, the Hong Kong competitor, will have to go to the back, and Monique Sullivan just looking around to make sure everything's in order behind her. Coach calls out an instruction. So Gao sitting in second. Let's go through them. As they sit on the wheel, there is Monique Sullivan from Canada, an Olympian. Got into the final at the Olympic Games in London. Behind her, from China, Xuan Gao, riding for a trade team here in Cambridge. Then Haejin Lee from Korea, another very experienced bike rider. And there's the champion, Anna Mears. What a classic confrontation she had with Vicky Pendleton at the Olympics in the individual sprint. That was worth the money of entry all on its own. Behind them, the rider from the Ukraine, one of the real outsider in this field, Lyubov Basova. And then at the back, the bronze medalist in the keirin from London, Waisei Lee. So, as Anna Mears suffered from that injury she sustained just before this competition began, she didn't appear to have in the semi-finals, that's for sure. Dominant there. Only riding the keirin here in Cambridge. This is her event. 2 rides. So, here goes the moto into the infield. Monique Sullivan looks around. They all look around to see where the challenge is coming from. No movement just yet. Monique Sullivan will go down and get 2 to go. Gao looking to the back. Waisei Lee says, well, I'm on the back, I have to move. And also Basova moves, and here comes Anna Mears. And Anna Mears says, Monique Sullivan's got too big a gap, I better go and fill it. And she charges up to the back of Monique Sullivan, looks around to see if anybody's going to join her. And at the bell, Anna Mears gets out of the saddle and charges to the front. She goes early. Gao is next. Haejin Lee coming well, and we've got a faller. And it's the Hong Kong rider goes down, but it's Anna Mears at the front. Gao is second. At the line, it's going to be close. Anna Mears just. Xuan Gao in the middle, and Waisei Lee is down. Now, I may be corrected on that one, but I had Anna Mears on the inside, but I may be wrong. Let's wait till we get it.
I think you're right, John. I think Mears got it.
So unfortunate for Waisei Lee. Well, the Korean's waving to the crowd. She thinks she's got it. So let's wait until we get it officially. I called it to Mears. It must be very, very close. Let's have a look. Down to the line. Mears on the inside. Gow in the middle. You call this one, Gary. Go on.
Wow, the scoreboard's just shown Gow. Yeah.
Well, you reckon? We're going to need the photo. We're going to need the photo. I'm still backing Mears. Look at it. Oh, that's too close to call.
The scoreboard's come up showing Gow as the winner. Mears second, Lee of Korea third, Sullivan of Canada, Kasoga, the Ukraine, and having a tumble in the back straight, Lee of Hong Kong.
Well, let's have a look at this photo finish. Oh, she did too. Gow got it. You fooled me, girl. Anna Mears, a rim in it. And so Xuan Gao, the winner of the Kieran here in Cambridge. Well done. Anna Mears has been beaten into second place. And the bronze medal. Well, bronze medal.
Lee of Korea.
Lee of Korea. So now we go to the men's sprint, back to the men's sprint. Remember these guys, Max Levy? We've seen a bit of him tonight. And he is going to have the crowd and Eddie Dawkins against him. Because yes, it's a New Zealander riding for the bronze medal as well. Here he comes, big Eddie Dawkins. Come on, crowd, where are you? And the crowd responds. So Eddie Dawkins reminds himself of what his job is here. It's to win a medal. But to do that, he's got to beat Max Levy. Already, the gold and silver have been decided. Now the bronze.
Eddie's pumped.
Yep, he's playing to the crowd, and the crowd are responding.
The sprinters love a show.
Indeed they do. Where would the sport be without them? The highlight of any track meet is the sprint competition and the medicine. So Dawkins leads off, and in behind him, Max Levy.
And both these riders in the ride that they had, that they took a victory, both were in the front when they hit the bell. They led it out, as we say. They both managed to win that way, so they're both probably going to want to do the same thing. So we could see a pretty quick lead into the final lap. They're both going to want the front, I think.
The pace is on with 2 laps to go. Dawkins flicking his bike around a bit. Levy winding up now. It's obviously going to be a long one. It is going to be a long one. They come around to get the bell. They're not totally committed yet. A little bit of foxing still going on. At the 200-metre mark, it's Dawkins on the pole and Levy on the outside. Can Dawkins hold him off? Here comes Max Levy around the outside. Max Levy the outside. Eddie Dawkins the inside. Max Levy's got the bronze in 10.5. Congratulations between the coaches. Bit of disappointment around the stadium. And Eddie Dawkins acknowledges the power of the German. Here it is in replay. And Gary, Eddie Dawkins had the inside, but Max Levy the outside.
Well, it was a pure drag strip, wasn't it? Just a drag race down the back straight. A little bit of elbows there at in the last corner, but Levy just getting over the top. Great stuff.
Coach loved it, and Anthony Peden, the New Zealand coach, consigned to a 4th place finish. So there we are, confirmed. Max Levy 2-1 over Eddie Dawkins in the ride-off for bronze here in the men's sprint at the World Cup.
Good fun. Always good fun.
It's always good fun. Well, I'm glad they think so, because we do too.
Like any athletes, these guys put in a huge amount of work. Largely in the gym and on the track for the sprinters. Quite different for the endurance riders, but nonetheless, massive amount of work goes in, a lot of long days of training. So any competition at any level, a win is a win.
Be interesting to see some of the squats these guys can do, some of the weights they're squatting. Look at the size of those thighs.
In excess of 200 kilos.
We have an award ceremony coming up for the women's keirin. That'll be followed by the men's sprint award ceremony. And I believe that will round up the meeting. We'll hear from the winners in both events. And as we said, time now for the women's keirin victory ceremony. Xuan Gao. Great ride from her. So as we roll down towards the end of the meeting, Gary, any highlights for you?
The meeting in general, I think, John, I said the day we started, it was a privilege to walk in here as a former rider and see what we've got here in Cambridge, and New Zealand putting on a great show, a great World Cup. It felt like home, it felt like it should, turning up to a World Cup stadium. Done it here in New Zealand, and they've done themselves proud, the organisers. And so the riders has been great, put on a great show, big effort, and all progressing forward to London World Championships and Rio Olympic Games.
The highlight for me, Gary, has to be Lassie Norman Hansen in the Omnium. Fantastic ride. Lassie Norman Hansen, I've never seen anything quite so dominant. Fantastic stuff. Anna Mears and Xuan Gao discussing their ride. There's the medals to be presented. So something being sorted out for the award ceremonies. Of course, the other highlight for me was Christina Vogel in the individual sprint.
Yeah, she's class, and she showed us that. World champion, and she came out and won. Great. I think for me, the team's pursuit race between New Zealand and Australia, the
3:53 of Australia.
Yeah,
that was a great time.
It was, and well, Australia's best ever time. So they are really on target, aren't they, towards Rio?
Yeah, and I think the foursome that they've sorted themselves out with Hepburn and Bobridge in there now, anchoring the thing. That's going to be a pretty formidable lineup when they get to London and when they go on to Rio.
Absolutely. And they did say they've got a couple of other guys on the verge of the squad back home in Australia. New Zealand rode with a slightly different combination that won the World Championships earlier in the year. And they finished in second place. Great ride by them. Perhaps at a slightly different phase of training, but a lot of work to do. But we'll be in there, I'm sure.
Yes, indeed. So a pretty impressive competition all around. And we apologise. There appears to be some sort of hold-up with the presentation here for the women's keirin. I don't know what it is, obviously. I'm up here and they're down there. But we wait. And Rick Fulcher and Del Woodford will take it away when they are ready down there. Isn't that Miss Waipa? Miss Waikato? I'm not sure. Could be.
I think that was just indicative of the happy nature that everyone's shown around here in the Waikato. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Yes, the capital of dairying and horse breeding, and also headquarters for cycling and rowing.
Yeah, just a couple of kilometres down the road, the famous Lake Karapiro, where many New Zealand rowers have thrashed out their training. And we've also had 2 World Championships on the lake for rowing as well.
So the Kieran has gone back to her pit to ask what's going on, and there's a deep discussion going on amongst the officials over the result of the women's.
Just been revising a Kieran result that the presentation's for, so we do apologise. We appreciate you staying around and say to these athletes, I said they've entertained us exceptionally well. We want you to stay around, but they've just been revisiting the result and there was a change made, so we won't be long. We'll be underway with the first of 3 presentations.
So there's been a change in the result of the women's keirin. So we'll maybe replay the end of that women's keirin to see what the result was, because Monique Sullivan has suddenly come up to join them and getting congratulations from Xuan Gao and Anna Mears, and the officials deep in discussion about it. And Lee of Korea has disappeared from the presentation area, so it must have been 3rd against 4th. Interesting. We don't know what it was for. But Monique Sullivan and is explaining it to Xuan Gao, you can see over there.
The official communique that comes from the UCI we'll probably get in about 15 minutes, which is going to be 14.5 minutes too late.
Yes, that'll tell us. Oh, well, here we go. The ceremony music is starting. Here's Rick Fulcher.
Ceremony for the UCI Track Cycling World Cup Cambridge Women's Keirin. The medals and UCI leaders jersey were presented by UCI Vice President Tracy Gaudry. Winner of the bronze medal representing Canada, Monique Sullivan. Winner of the silver medal representing Jayco AIS, Anna Mears. UCI Track Cycling World Cup Women's Keirin gold medalist and winner of the UCI Leaders jersey, Giant Max Pro Cycling Welshung. presented by General Manager, Skoda New Zealand, Greg Leet. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of China. Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
It's tough riding against the current world champ, Anna Mears. What were your tactics going into this race?
We have been raced since long time. So she's a good rider. So maybe we know each other. Sometimes she wins, sometimes I win. We never know. Yeah.
This track, obviously it's the first time the international races have been here in Cambridge. How does it compare to the international tracks?
I think it's really nice track. And for me also, it's the first time I have been here. So I like Cambridge, the weather and the grass here. Very nice.
Now, obviously, it's a huge next year. What's your plan leading up to Rio?
We don't know yet. I still need to do some more race and depend my points to qualify for the Rio.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
The silver medal representing Germany, Max Niederlag. UCI Track Cycling World Cup men's sprint gold medalist and winner of the UCI gold medalist representing JACO IAS, Matthew Glaitzer. The gifts now presented by General Manager, Skoda New Zealand, Greg Leet. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Australia. ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge all our medalists.
Congratulations, amazing race. Tell us a tactic to hold off those Germans. They're so dominant.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's all about just executing your race play. So for the first one, from the back, just had to push him, and yeah, it was instinctive really, because we were drag racing down and I had to take height to get separation, so I wasn't just on the outside the whole way round. So that was really good to do that, quick thinking, and in the second one, knew it was just going to be a tough race. So from the front, got some height, and yeah, he got on the outside and I thought he was going to come round, but I just managed to hold him off on the inside, and coming through turn 3, he started to get back in the lead, so I knew I had it then.
Well, what are your tactics then leading into Rio? It's going to be a tough year next year.
Absolutely. This is all just really practice for the big show in the Rio. So, yeah, it's all going to be very, very tough. I mean, we're racing pretty much the same guys. So, yeah, we've got the World Championships next to come. So, yeah, it's going to be tough road.
So earlier on, you set a track record. How long did it take you to get used to the track here in Cambridge?
Not long at all, really. We're used to these sort of tracks. Only maybe the first session got used to it. Second session here, just really felt at home. So yeah, I love these sort of tracks, and yeah, was stoked to get the record.
Are you happy with the Australian team performance overall?
Yeah, for sure. We're a good bunch, and yeah, we've been doing really well. I mean, we've targeted this World Cup, and yeah, happy to get the results on the board.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you, cheers.
Well, there we are, folks. The UCI round in track cycling here at Cambridge has come to an end, and people are packing up at the Advantageous, and all the teams will be heading off home overseas. Gary, enjoyed it?
Absolutely great. Loved it. Fantastic to be back in our World Cup venue. Thank you, John.
Yes, indeed, a World Cup venue. And, well, we look ahead now to the next round, and that will be in Hong Kong, followed up by the World Championships in London, and then the big one. It's the Olympic Games in Rio. So on behalf of all the crew here that brought you the World Cup racing, it's a very goodbye.